Hello and welcome to the 2019 BTN Preseason Invitational. We're back with more amazing games, hot off of the action last week as Michigan State took on Michigan, and some missteps from Michigan cost them big time, allowing Michigan State to walk away with the 2-0 victory. Over on the other side, we saw Illinois take down Northwestern 2-0, setting up the matchup we get to see today. Illinois taking on Purdue. We'll see if they can maintain their undefeated streak. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Paul Inverum Toddkill, joined by Degon and returned here on the desk. Thanks so much for joining us here for today's amazing match.
Yeah, super excited to be back here, Collegiate for the Big Ten. I was so sad that I wasn't quite able to see the in-state rivalry match between Michigan and Michigan State, but I'm glad that that all resolved itself clearly, and now excited to see who's going to be coming out on top of the West. Obviously undefeated Illinois, but you know, we've been talking about this Purdue team for quite some time.
Yeah, and it's been getting a lot closer. I mean, when you look at Purdue's matchup versus Minnesota versus how Illinois matched up against Minnesota, it really is looking like Purdue is starting to shorten that distance between two teams. I think Illinois definitely is still favored, but I think the real thing that's going to be the equalizer tonight is going to be who adapts to 9.23 just a little bit better.
We're going to talk about that one a little bit later on in the show, but of course, it's amazing to see how these squads are evolving over the course of the preseason invitational, because that's what it's all about. It's an opportunity for these teams to hone their skills going into the next ESL season, try out new strats, try out new players, and we have seen them do that growing over the course of the season because we changed things up a little bit this time around. Let's take a look at it. The BTN 2019 Preseason Invitational is an opportunity for players to hone their skills and develop new strategies going into the next ESL season. Players will have more chances to compete against their rivals and see their games brought to life on the big screen. The tournament starts with a round-robin stage. The East and West divisions are separated, then each team will play all other teams within their division. All matches will be played as a best-of-3. Each team's record during the round-robin stage will determine who qualifies for the playoffs. The top two teams from each division will meet in a single elimination bracket in the playoffs. The top two teams, one from each division, will play a best-of-5 grand finals and be crowned the champions. So you see it there. These teams are fighting for a spot in the playoffs. Only the top 4 teams will be able to duke it out in those extended series going forward. Let's take a look at exactly how the squads are standing up. Degon, let's start things off in the East.
Yeah, in the East, saw it in that last game, Michigan State against Michigan. The Spartans will be the #1 seed moving into the playoffs against their in-state rivals, the Wolverines. But now, with some time to sit back, retool off this week, they'll be able to come back with a bigger game plan to see if they can knock off this season's Eastern champs during the regular season.
In return, let's take a look at the West as well. How is this bracket shaping up?
It's shaping up pretty nicely, especially around that top end. Of course, a later matchup between Purdue and Minnesota just last week meant that Minnesota is now eliminated from the playoffs. That leaves your top two as Purdue and Illinois. And like we mentioned at the top of the show, Purdue is closing that gap, and we're going to see it here today.
Because Illinois has sort of always been the final boss, not just of the West, but as the BTN as a whole. They were heads and shoulders ahead of the competition. Don't get me wrong, Michigan State gave them quite a run for their money last season, but now with Purdue also stepping up to the plate, this is very interesting. They're no longer sort of this, far and away unattainable goal of a team to beat. They're definitely looking mortal this season.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing with Collegiate, especially here at the BTN, because after Maryland has fell off at the beginning of the year and is no longer the 3-4-time repeat champion, and having Illinois have the opportunity to step up, other schools now have the opportunity to say, hey, look, if Illinois can do that and make that next step, we have the chance to as well. So I'm very excited to see who else will be able to join Illinois and Michigan State as the top teams. And right now it's looking like it's either going to be Michigan or Purdue for the other side of the bracket.
Yeah, I for one am very much looking forward to those finals. I mean, we already guaranteed a Michigan's team in the finals from the West. Now we're looking at the EC who's going to be joining them. Actually, that's flipped.
Yeah,
that's flipped. We're going to get Michigan one way or another.
Yeah.
We'll see which one will come out on top when we get there, but we have to deal with this match. But before we do that, I, of course, have to give a big shout-out to the partner of ESL Collegiate. Of course, it is Grubhub. You have seen us talk about Grubhub all season long, the biggest network of restaurants and diners, helping to bring us all the delicious food every single week. Because, of course, the cast and chat Chowdown would not be the same without them. We've been able to experience so much amazing food on the broadcast thanks to Grubhub. And, of course, you at home can get involved in that. Head on over to Twitter at ESL Collegiate to vote on which food we'll be eating here on the desk. But because we only have one matchup today, you don't have a whole lot of time to vote. Go do that right now. I don't even know what our options are. It's going to be a total surprise for us. So definitely go over and do that. And of course, download the app, get involved. Grubhub Perks, an amazing opportunity to get special deals and discounts, and of course, free food. Because especially if you're on, I don't know, a college student on campus, and I don't know, maybe budget's tight, and maybe you're just like, look, all I know is free food's pretty great. And if I'd been able to use this when I was in university, I definitely would have.
There it is. You pulled the old man thing. When I was in university, if I would have had Grubhub, life would have been so much better.
It would have, though.
Push the till and the plow.
Look, I had to walk through snow and sleet and hail to get to like the grocery store.
Uphill, both ways.
Uphill, both ways. I mean, it was downhill one way, but that's either way. Grubhub would have been very fantastic. So thank you so much, Grubhub, for joining us as a partner of ESL Collegiate. Let's talk about our first match. We've been alluding to it all day, but let's make it official here. It's Illinois taking on Purdue. This is the score from the last time these two teams met in the playoffs. Illinois walked away with a 3-0 victory. I think if we were to repeat a best-of-5 right now, that would not be the case.
Yeah, I imagine it'd be a little bit closer here. Was it Parky Lowe last season? Changed his name to Holy Carp in the mid lane. Had himself a very difficult time to find any space on the opposite side. The Fighting Illini with the Bosch, who made the role swap from AD carry now to the support role. You could see 25 kills in that last game, and Illinois was able to sweep through.
Yeah, and I think that this is still going to be that Illinois story. When we take a deeper dive in towards the roster, it is still, a good amount still there. I mean, Topopotamus can be that first name that sticks out. One name missing from this roster from last time we saw these two teams is Zeno in the mid lane. Him being subbed out now from Command Attack, who has been kind of getting some hit or miss performances. I think that's really going to turn into the story of the series.
Yeah, Command Attack. He had big shoes to fill, but so far so good. Undefeated. Can't do better than that. Yeah. Illinois has been able to take on every single challenge that they faced, and Command Attack's going to have his hands full because on the opposite side, everything rolls through Parky Lowe, now known as Holy Kerp.
Yeah, no, the mid lane matchup is definitely one we're going to have to keep an eye on. Let's take a look at the opposing team's roster here for the University of Purdue. We talked about Holy Kerp there in the middle, but also bottom, Bishop, and Flawed Logic. I'm keeping an eye on them. And we're going to talk more about the changes as we get into it here, but I think having a potential slightly higher impact in terms of levels and all that stuff from the mid, Holy Kerp has, I think you said, his work cut out for him. I think that's exactly it. Let's take a little bit of this player. Of course, Grand Master in Season 9. This guy is a beast when it comes to just being able to roll up, take over a game by himself. But of course, it's how the team works around him that they're going to need to make sure is picture perfect in order to take down Illinois.
Yeah, and again, Junior has experience in the mid lane, ranked highly. You got all the makings of someone that can really lead an upset against a juggernaut like Illinois in Holy Kerp.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that you're starting to get to the point now where these rosters are getting to a similar level. Purdue have definitely proven themselves throughout this tournament, only picking up that one loss, of course. And they've shown that they are a team that can swing with the best, but I think that today's matchup is going to be about more of that. It's about the intangibles. How good is that coaching staff? How much do these players think about the game both in and out of it? And how much are you able to come up with an aggressive plan to take down your rivals?
And I think there's one more thing we have to talk about here because, of course, we're playing on 9.23. How can these teams adapt to the new changes? One more big thing. Rise of the Elements, I believe, was turned earlier on the day. You said League of Dragons, and that's exactly what we're looking at right here. Talk to us about some of the big changes we're seeing here in 9.23.
Oh, yeah. Biggest thing, of course, off the bat is the new dragon system. As you can see, there are now 4 different rifts that can spawn. That'll happen after the 3rd dragon is taken from each team. And, of course, we can get a little bit into more during the cast of exactly what each one does. But, big buffs coming around. If you are the first team to solidify 4 of those dragons, you get the Dragon Soul. And that can lead to some really early Elder Dragons. I believe 25 minutes into the game is mathematically the earliest Elder Dragon you can have. And that is a game-ending buff. So now teams, I think it's really going to drag them back to that bottom side of the map. You have to get dragons. You have to be looking for that game. If you get that up, you're giving them just a free execute.
Yeah, that's right. And again, with the 4 different types of elemental rifts, it's more aggression when you have the Infernal Rift. It's less aggression if you have the Mountain Rift. It's a lot of sneakiness and hiding in brushes if you have the Ocean Rift, and a lot more playability and mobility when you have the Cloud Rift. So you're so used to moving around much faster, and you got to make sure that you adjust to however the dragon randomization will lead to.
Yeah, because of course the first 3 Drakes are going to be random, but the third one will determine the rift for the end of the game. And of course, the execute under 20% with that Elder Dragon. It's absolutely gross. It basically allows you to just completely dominate, take over team fights at the end of
Poor
the game.
Heimerdinger.
Oh yeah, poor Heimerdinger. Well, yeah, that's fine. And also, of course, Rift Herald being changed up as well, spawning earlier, all that good stuff. Let's get into draft for game number 1. We'll be talking about these changes more as they go on. Some big changes in terms of lethality items, runes as well. Making sure to touch on and highlight those over the course of the game, because they will definitely be impacting what the champion pools look like for both of these teams, as well as how they are going to be itemizing them.
Yeah, I mean, talking to players, it seems like by having these changes now on the map, it's that preseason fun. The game feels new. Yeah. At the end of every World season, it always feels like things are very, it's execution based. Everyone kind of knows how it's supposed to go, but how sneaky can you execute it?
Yeah, exactly. And it's fun to see that there's now no one correct way to play the game. It feels like after Worlds, like you were kind of mentioning, it's a solved game at that point. But now also you have to be considering things, and of course the video does a very great job of showing off the flashy changes in 9.23, the ones that you show off on the front page of Twitter and Instagram, but you have to keep in mind what's under the hood as well, and that is big changes to how jungling works. You got XP changes, respawn changes, solo lanes we were mentioning as well, and I think this would finally be the first time we get to see it on broadcast, but Senna finally makes it through.
Yeah, Senna, of course, being released in 9.22, but not playable. Just sort of the delay and giving players a time to adjust and react to that, of course. She is joining us here on the Rift, likely to be landed in that support position, but I think teams are still sort of... Technically, you can try and run her. I saw Doublelift trying to run her as carry. Didn't work so well. But yes, definitely be looking to run that here, the first support marksman. But then, of course, Xayah and Nautilus still returning. No real surprise there. They've been a staple for the last 3 months.
Yeah, both Xayah and
here we
Kai'Sa
go.
had the
There it
nerfs.
is. You talked about it. Degon, you saw this yesterday.
Yeah, I saw it yesterday. Well, we'll let them lock it in if that's what they're going with. Okay, there you go. Big brain. All right. So Xayah and Kai'Sa both got nerfed post-Worlds. However, Kai'Sa's nerf a little bit stronger here. But on the opposite side, the reason why people have been playing more Senna and Heimerdinger is because the ability to have CC within those 2 champions. You're able to go ahead and snare someone up with the Senna and then follow up with the grenade, or the inverse. Grenade first and then Senna with the snare.
Yeah, and it works really well defensively too, because Senna, first thing you have to think about is she is an absolute glass cannon. You touch her, she is dead. Nautilus has a giant hook, and that's what Heimerdinger provides well. A little bit of safety, a little bit of that peace of mind in the laning phase to hopefully stop the snowball, because if this Xayah Nautilus lane starts running away, kiss the dragons goodbye, kiss the bottom side of the lane, and bottom side of the map goodbye. Well, I think Purdue, they're going to be going pretty hard to stop that one from running.
Definitely.
And we're seeing the rest of this draft build up now. Ornn locked in, likely in the top there for Purdue, denying other top options in the GP. Echo likely being locked in for the jungle of Illinois, but theoretically could be laned mid as well. Also going to be denying the Talia and the J4, trying to deny jungle options, so likely going to be seeing that Echo there in the jungle.
Yeah, and actually really interesting to see, because on this new patch, not only are jungle respawn timers down, but XP is up as well, at least to get to level 3. But with that does leave a bit more room for these more invasion-style junglers. Like, I'm looking at the Nidalee, is still up and available. I have to see if it is picked up by Purdue. But there are ways to shut down these slower early-game junglers way more effectively now that, catch-up XP, it's gone.
Yeah, catch-up XP gone. I just want to take a quick look at those last couple bans from Purdue. You had to be aware of what Topopotamus was rolling with. He has a pretty nasty Renekton, but he has a plethora of champions that he can play through. Yeah, Renekton, see you later. But with the introduction of Sanguine Blade, there are a lot of different champions that can hop on in, including Split Push Tristana. I feel like that's going to be insane levels of attack speed that you're able to utilize. So Purdue banning that one away. And people have been talking about this Mordekaiser. Get him one-on-one, pop the ultimate down. You're only going to have one champion around you. And Sanguine Blade, with its isolated passive that leads to even more attack speed, more stats, it seems like a recipe for disaster if you're stuck in that lane by yourself.
Yeah, it looks like we are going to be seeing that more in the mid, kind of top, and likely going to be seeing the Zoe there in the middle. So going to be able to try and use the range a little bit with the paddle stars, all that good stuff. So taking a look at these two drafts, I think both actually have done a very good job of sort of adapting to what 9.23 is bringing to the table.
Yeah.
And I actually really like both of them. I think we're seeing a lot of the new stuff that we kind of expected to see. A lot of it. Clearly, been watching a lot of streams, seeing what the pros are talking about and doing. So I'm excited to see what both these teams, how they can execute it themselves. Though, if there's two teams I think here in the BTN who could do them justice, it's definitely looking to be these two teams. Now, as we look towards predictions for this next game, I like both drafts. I like what both teams are trying to do. But I just have to give the edge to Illinois, just given their history, the fact they're coming into this 5-0. I think that giving Command Attack such a potentially scary mid, I mean, I can't believe I'm ranting about how good Mordekaiser can be in the mid, but you talked about the changes that are coming in. I think he could be absolutely disgusting, so I'm going to go Illinois.
Yeah, I think Illinois, with their history there, seems like the better team. But for me, if I go based off of draft, I like how much burst damage is up front with Purdue. It seems like in this patch, games are ending much faster. And if you're able to get things going with the Heimerdinger, with the Senna, with Graves that just needs one item to be able to start bursting things down, that can snowball out of control. So I'm going with the Boilermakers of Purdue to take the victory in this game, number 1.
Yeah, I think I do have to agree with Degon on this one. I think that the draft from Purdue is a lot more focused on 9.23. I think the Graves, I don't think we talked about that much, but Graves versus Echo should be an absolutely stomp fest, especially with Seguin and Blade working in the jungle when there's no champions around. I think that's going to be a really effective point for Purdue winning through that jungle, and I think that, overall, I like their composition a bit more. You got scaling with Senna, you got scaling with Orin. I think they're going to take game number 1 over the Fighting Illini.
Yeah, I think the big thing here is don't let the game break through the top lane. The Kled versus Ornn matchup, that's going to be very difficult for Kled, or for Ornn to get through, but if he's able to get through that and then be the big CC, the big fight starter for all the rest of the champions that have a ton of damage, you'll be okay.
I mean, yeah, you're obviously having the additional gold influx as well with those masterwork items. Keeping an eye on that for sure. So, all right, we'll see how my prediction holds up here. I just have to lean towards sort of the history of Illinois overall, but we'll see what is going to happen as we get into game number 1 between these two squads. Of course, brought to you by Grubhub. And of course, if you want to get yourself, I don't know, maybe some free food, I don't know, maybe $12 off your first order of $15 and more, grubhub.me/ESL Collegiate is where you can find that. Be sure to check that one out. Thank you so much, Grubhub.
Thanks, Grubhub.
Thank you, Grubhub. As we're jumping into the very first game between Purdue and Illinois. Purdue has a lot to prove here. They really want to start off strong and set the pace because, of course, due to the way that tiebreakers will work, this will be our final matchup here on this side of the bracket in our finals overall. This is sort of the setup, the primer, as it were, for these two teams. So if one of them can walk away with, I don't know, a dominant 2-0 victory, that could potentially affect the mental of the other squad going into next week, or 2 weeks from now, I should say.
Yeah, definitely could. And I think either way, Purdue and Illinois, they kind of, if you win this and you're Purdue, you now have side selection. Side selection, very, very huge, especially in a playoff matchup. Whereas Illinois, I think you just don't want to show too much here. You want to feel it out, see how this new rift works, see how these your prep has worked in a competitive environment. But Purdue, I think, has a little bit more to play for here in terms of getting the advantage in the side selection for playoffs next week.
Yeah, definitely the small little things. You don't think about them too much in the scheme of things, but they really do make a difference, especially at this level of play. And of course, one of the things we did discuss going into this were just some of the general big changes. You can see it on the right-hand side of your screen right now. The alcoves in the top and bottom half of the map. Definitely going to be something to keep an eye on, giving a little bit more option when it comes to just sort of how you can move, how you can look at this in terms of even potential ganks, that kind of stuff. Won't change how laning works a ton, but it just gives players a little bit more option.
Yeah, definitely does. And we've seen different types of ganks be able to roll through here. I had the pleasure of working the USC versus UCLA Conquest tournament earlier this week to get my first-hand look at the competitive play. And you see a lot more different paths here. You're able to move on up and then get to the other brush if you shove in the wave the whole way. You can sit in the middle brush so that the ward that you would normally put in safely under your turret doesn't cover that one. So a bunch of different little wrinkles here that teams can work with in the alcove. But most of the time, I've seen a lot of guys just run down away, they get caught, and they run in the alcove and then die. So we'll see how it goes. We haven't seen quite any Camille's that have been able to traverse the little area there, and Talons that have been able to traverse the area as well.
Uh-oh, we're seeing Command Attack Jack already forced to burn an early flash, try and get himself out. The Sleepy Trouble able to try and get that one done. And the committed flash as well from Holy Kerp. And the rotation from Clam Sparkle, able to pick up first blood there in the mid lane takedown. That Mordekaiser.
That was Kled. Mordekaiser on top side.
Oh, wait, they swapped on me.
They did swap on you. Yeah. So it was Topopotamus's Mordekaiser. You are constantly isolated in that front, and I think command attack, I'm not sure. I don't have a lot of experience
I wasn't even
in the Zoe Kled matchup.
Yeah, here I wasn't even. I was looking at notes. I wasn't even paying attention to what was on the screen in front of me. And there you are. Gotta keep an eye on that one as we're seeing I think a little shifts here. And actually, I like this decision. I mean, obviously the gank not super effective there in the middle for Illinois, but I like the fact that they're comfortable running these champions in some of these different positions. This is expanding on these champ pools going forward. So like to see that, but I'd like to see the gank from Purdue even more. That was good timing, capitalizing on a little bit of overextension. That's sort of what we're talking about, what these new jungle rotations are going to look like, being able to get that level 3 and push forward into ganks.
Oh, but missed it off screen. Senna getting blown up there, and we talked about it earlier. That is the fear when you're playing Senna. You're a glass cannon, and Shock's able to come on through from the backside and pick up Bishop. I think that's the key matchup you need to look for here. The Bosch and Kuderik have been constantly doing well, providing another win condition for Illinois, and it's just another case of that one here as Bishop and Flawed Logic go down early.
Yeah, we're seeing a solid counter rotation from Illinois, getting the jungler involved as well, that early stage. And we're seeing just a little bit of the punishment coming out, though, from Holy Kerp there in the mid. I talked about abusing the range matchup with that Zoe. Of course, the Paddle Stars, they just come at you from so far away. They're just so annoying to deal with, and the Sleepy Trouble Bubble to set everything up is going to be a factor throughout the course of this game.
Yeah, I call Zoe kind of like the way that you're not used to playing against Zax. If you haven't played against a Zac in quite some time, these angles that damage can come from, that danger can come from, are just a little unconventional. You're not quite used to it. It takes a little while to get used to it. So with the Paddle Stars and different weird angles and able to use teleport forward and then back, it's just kind of annoying to play against. And then all of a sudden, as the game gets later and later, Zoe's Paddle Stars are no longer just kind of like tapping you, but giving you a spanking every time.
Yeah, they can do some serious damage. I remember last season seeing them half healthing people, especially those squishier carries or supports. So we'll see how that plays out. Luckily, there's a decent amount of beef up to the front line for Illinois between the Nautilus and the Mordekaiser to try and shut that one down. We are seeing, of course, the early Drake spawning now 5 minutes, and every 5 minutes after that, going to be a serious point of contention for both of these squads because, of course, there is less HP on these early Drakes, making them slightly easier to take these first two here. They will, of course, be random moving forward for these first three, so keep an eye on that. It's a nice little poke coming in from Bishop and Flawed Logic. Of course, the Senna with that shot is going to be able to do a decent amount of poke and heal as well if she can line it up well with Bishop.
Yeah, hasn't quite been able to deal as much poke there. Good dodging by the Bosch. Derek not able to be as lucky, and this is just annoying. It's oppressive. However, the Fighting Illini have shown they've been able to break through this line of damage once already, right? This is the dangerous area where you can see Nautilus starting to flank around the minion wave and try to land that dredge line to start the damage flow from both Nautilus and the Xayah. Clam Sparkle spent a little bit of time there on the bottom side of the map. Wasn't quite able to find anything.
Here we go.
Trouble Bubble.
This is the sleep to set this one up. They want to try and commit onto it. The Paddle Star comes in for a ton of damage. Flash for Flash now being burned. Committed Clan Sparkle. Oh, but Holy Kerp. All right, he's going to just continue to go right on through with that one. That's just totally fine.
Holy Kerp with the prediction after the flash. That was a fantastic paddle start because it wasn't where he was, it was where he's going, and he was going right to the gray screen. And that's why we constantly talk about this mid laner as the leader. 64 games on Zoe this season, 63 win percentage as we take a look at it one more time. And you immediately want to flash for your Echo, he does the right thing, but look at this. That's exactly where he was going.
So good.
Shocks gets taken down after getting caught in the river brush, and that leads to taking the Drake as well.
Yeah, first Drake going to be picked up here. Looks like our observer tools don't actually get to see who takes those anymore. So that's interesting. Have to keep an eye on those as they are physically taken, as we no longer see the indicator at the top of the screen. But as we're taking a look at how these lanes are sort of matching up here, I want to talk about a little bit more about the XP change, the fact that these solo laners getting solo XP from minions has been very slightly, I mean very slightly, increased. and sharing that actually a little bit decreased. So watch to see these mid and top laners actually starting to scale a little bit quicker ahead in terms of these levels overall versus their counterparts in the bot lane. We're seeing level 7 to level 6 and 5 respectively for the mid and top laners. Then of course you talked about the decreased timing on those jungle camps up every minute and 20 seconds now, sort of incentivizing a little bit more of a slower farm-centered jungle play.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool to see a champion like Graves now have the opportunity to not get bullied out by other early game burst champions like a Gragas, like a J4, like a Lee Sin, like a Xin Zhao, all these guys that are more than willing to rumble early and really push back the scaling of a Graves. However, Graves is known to be a burst damage champion. He just needs to get to that first item and not fall too far behind, which is what has been happening all throughout Season 9. So here, Preseason 10, Preseason 20, 2020 as they've been calling it. I don't know if we're going to be calling it Season 10 yet. Either way, it's cool to see a nice little wrinkle here by the Boilermakers putting Clam Sparkle on something that can get around.
But at the same time, you know, we're looking at what Illinois is able to do on the map. 8 minutes now for that Rift Herald respawning every 6, the potential to pick up 2 of those Rift Heralds going forward. And of course, you've also got now less time to pick up the Eye afterwards. Can't dilly-dally around if fights do break out around that. On the flip side of this, of course, we did see the MR and armor increase for this early turret plating by actually a fairly significant amount, which means that it's less viable to just group as 5 to push down these turrets. Having that Rift Herald to support these early pushes, get those early plates is going to be very important. Sort of counterbalancing how the Rift ended up developing here. A lot of pressure being put now, or a lot of focus on the Drake, but then I have to respond to that Rift Herald as well.
That's right. So Shock's getting that one early, should be able to rotate around and try to make up for getting caught out in that mid lane earlier and accentuate and try to get some of that gold back. Right now, bang even in terms of gold, 14, almost 15,000 here as Shock's rotating down. They do have control of the river brush.
We're seeing the potential dive underneath the turret here.
Led also down here.
Yeah, it's kind of a party. Starting to see things line up, but not wanting to overcommit here. And this is where junglers can get punished falling behind in farm if they do opt to stay a little bit too long. And I like the decision here from Shox not to do just that. Look, the gank doesn't work out. That's fine. We'll reset, go back to farming. I can still find gold on the Rift.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the big things in this patch. It's like, hey, look, we don't want to spend too much time on a bad gank, so we'd rather have a poor timing of a gank and then just going back than missing a gank and then having my jungle completely taken away by Clam Sparkle. Missing out.
Yeah, the counter jungle potential is now very strong. So you're basically guaranteed to find something in your opponent's jungle when you do go in there. Getting punished for not full clearing is definitely something we're going to see in the overall counter jungle meta. But other thing I really wanted to talk about was sort of these support items and how those were changed up here in the bottom, because I think that was maybe a slight underlooked change here. Now not needing to spend all of the increase to level that up over time. It is now just sort of completed through the quest of that item itself. It's only cost that 400 gold, not needing to go all the way to 1,800 and giving a lot more different options. Speaking of options, Holy Curve is exercising some in the mid right now, going on to Shock's forced to pull back with the ult from the Echo, but right back into the danger zone as Clan Sparkle's looking to try and pick them up. Command attack is going to try dive through underneath the turret, counter kill. Yes, he was able to do so, trying to get himself out, but Clan Sparkle trying to chase this one down. It's called the Forge Dog coming on through. The knockup is there, feeding over the kill to the top laner. Ornn arrives, ring, ring, it's me. And that is Purdue capitalizing on that one.
Yeah, it was Nasta rotating through first against the Mordekaiser. Topopotamus getting caught in a recall. And so Purdue able to capitalize on the initial gank. Almost getting away was Holy Carp there. The last second command attack, able to land the bear, rope on a bear trap. Able to land that one there and finish up the kill.
Nice series of kills there in the middle. But we have multiple games going on overall across the BTN during this. Iowa and Nebraska are also fighting things out as well. We're going to get Iowa Northwestern, I should say, fighting things out. Let's take a look, get an update from that matchup as well. Let's take a look at this one as we're seeing a lot early fight as well. Thanks, return.
Hello, yeah. We got some early fighting in from Iowa Northwestern, of course, as an early triple kill comes in for I'm Dying and Ben down on the Iowa bot lane. Patch 9.23, definitely not having any real slowing effect on the game. Gonna be able to start them off really nicely in this series. Senna may be back, but the boys are still back in town in the bottom lane in here. And it's really just a whole fiesta as we do get a gank on down to the bottom side. That doesn't end up going very well. Beautiful Thresh Lucian play combination from the Iowa side, and that's gonna start them off right here. Back to you guys with the game.
Thanks so much, Return. Wow, what a series of kills down there in the bottom on that last one. We saw action in our game as well, as Bishop did end up falling for the side of Purdue, opening up this second Drake going the way of Illinois.
What a play there by
that was
Ben
sick.
One, flashing into the bush. But here we go. Holy Carp taking a look here. Will Clamsparkle go for the steal? Holy Carp not able to land the paddle star. Ult coming on through. The red team does slay it, but look how low everyone is.
The Roots.
Three-man root. Here comes Clamsparkle over the wall, able to get one auto attack off. The Sleepy Trouble bubble.
No
leads
mana.
to trouble right here. Shock's in a bit of trouble. Clamsparkle should be finishing this one off. He is able to pick up the double kill. Holy Carp picking it up, and the TP gets canceled on the top side of the map. Liznassa says, "You're going nowhere, sir." Topopotamus now trying to fight this one out. Flashing backwards, Liznassa not quite done yet. Who's going to win this one? Or trying to get the auto attack off the brittle. Will not break it up, but
Here we
the
go.
call will not be denied.
No!
Topopotamus taking this one. Full collect payment. Yes, sir. And the Boilermakers taking an 8-4 lead.
Overcommitting without the resources to get it done. We're Illinois in the bottom and punished for it by Purdue. The three-man route from flawed logic to set that one up. His logic seemed pretty sound in that one, and just not having the mana, not having the resources were Illinois. Yeah, they walk away with the Drake, but it costs them so much. Now down 8 kills to 4 and 2,000 gold.
Yeah, and you can see the power of Senna. The multi-person snare. It's an AoE snare once it hits you, and you've got to find a way. You've got to find a way to spread out, and it's so difficult to do that in the Dragon Pit. That led to Clamsparkle being able to clean everything up. Now Bishop in a little bit of trouble, trying to get a little cheeky, set up the trap, but the trap is now set upon him. But will he be able to kill the Bosch? The Bosch getting snared up again. Bishop so close, the darkness will not be enough, but the wrench, the flying auto attack wrench for the Heimerdinger. It's so scary, leading to a kill here, and the Bosch goes down for the second time in the game.
Tanky, but not tanky enough, trying to commit everything to get himself on out of there. Now the second Rift Herald opened up here for Purdue. They're going to try and exert some pressure on the Rift themselves. Of course, plates have fallen. It's not going to be able to leverage that into additional gold, but still going to try and take down some of these early turrets and not let the opposing team scale up too much at all. In fact, just going to let themselves continue to scale. They've got the Graves, they've got the Ornn, and they are more than happy to just continue to keep up the pressure in this game and stay in the driver's seat.
Yeah, and with the Bosch down, you're missing one of your engaged tools here. No ability there on the top side of the map to catch out Bishop. With the Rift Herald now getting popped. No plates here, but no problem. They're more than happy to break open this mid-lane turret. First turret gold heading on over to Purdue, and this opens up the map now for more wardage. It gets it, you just a lot more wardage. You can also see how the Rift has started to shift here. Ocean Drake on the plate, a lot more brush, a lot more shrubbery to be around the map here, and it gives more credence for sneaky plays coming out of either team.
Or, I mean, sometimes you don't need to be sneaky. Sometimes you just need to walk up and kill them. As we're seeing up here in the top, once again, the Featherstorm going to be looking to try and deny this, but looks like the confident play of Kuderik is spelling the invade coming on through. Oh no, that was not the play that wanted to make. Cleansburg coming in from the flank as well, but it seems like that was the middle. TP also coming on through. So you see the Kled diving in through the river, through the mid. Mid attack, trying to get himself out of there, but so much damage has already been done. Bishop, they're taking a lot of return damage from Jacques, who's now he's trapped up against a wall. Can he get himself out? Going back with the ult, finds the kill, goes down himself, finds the trade 1-for-1. And that is Clamsparkle unstoppable now, able to get that counter kill, but nice play from the Echo to not walk away empty-handed.
Yeah, that looked so dangerous there for Purdue to start, then almost counter killed there by Illinois because the Bosch went in, tried to throw the dredge line, hit the wall immediately, and then you're just kind of stuck there in your big underwater suit moving very slowly.
He evaded the stopwatch, I guess.
Kled came out to try and help the rest of the team. It gets stopped by multiple members, and somehow Command Attack is able to outplay Clamsparkle and Holy Carp to get himself to safety. And big play by Shocks to catch out Bishop. Bishop again, 1-3, starting to fall a little bit further behind here on the Heimerdinger. Heimerdinger will fall off in terms of damage later on, but this burst damage needs to hit this mid-game spike now. Still hasn't completed an item.
Yeah, surprising here. Down a little bit in terms of CS, but 1-3-0 that sort of being the big factor here, only being involved in one of these 10 kills for the side of Purdue. So definitely needs to either sit back and farm or find more meaningful ways to get involved in the action. So seeing things starting to slow down, stabilize a bit as we get into the mid-game. Neither side really wants to overcommit and give away even further of a lead if it's the case of Illinois right now. They just want to sit back and let Kuderik farm.
Yeah, Kuderik needs to keep accelerating this game. Now has the Essence Reaver completed. Bishop again, just what are you doing?
Walking into the river and getting instantly deleted for his work. The root from Senna going to come on through with the counter initiation. Lots of damage going over the way of Illinois, but the targeted damage from them in response, finding 2 kills, looking towards their next Drake. However, they've already used a decent amount of resources here. Command attack in the mid is getting caught out as Holy Curve is going to go and try and get the one done. The ult percentage there as well. Call the Forge got to try and but it misses it. Absolutely disaster for the Bosch is still going to fall. Flaw Logic to be the next target. Top bottom is trying to chase him on down as the Nasta is there. Kuderik in the back with the Feather Storm going to be dodging a lot of damage from Holy Curve, trying to just continue to do this. They're so tanky at this point. Who can take this one down? We're seeing a wet noodle fight in the river. So everyone is slowly getting whittled on through. Finally, Nasta and Holy Curve are able to line things up. Bishop is going to be arriving, going down at the start of this, now coming back in to close it out.
Liz Nasta forcing in and trying to get himself to safety. Now Holy Carp trying to go 1v1. What a play there. The Bishop is able to pick up 1. He's able to pick up 2, and then Liz Nasta does finish off the job. What a sloppy fight earlier. Bishop died, respawned, gets back on in, but overall, I believe it is a 5-for-4 Purdue. Win the fight and get this Ocean Drake. What the heck just happened?
I don't entirely know. What an absolutely, I think, sloppy series of engages. A couple of really nice little micro plays that happened.
But
hang on, this one's not done yet. We are going to see the Drake going over the way of Purdue, but they're going to pay for it with their lives. Command attack and the Bosch just lost Bishop. He just wandered away. These additional brushes spawning here, actually having a bit of an impact. Let's take a look at this one again.
Yeah, so after immediately losing Bishop, Holy Carp says it's go time. Command attack gets taken down early. Flawed Logic and Liznasta just doing a lot of damage here. Multi-man snare by Flawed Logic slows things down. The Sleepy Trouble Bubble forces the ult early out of Kuderik. And then Holy Carp, although he gets ulted, able to use the cleanse to get himself out, and Topopotamus almost sneaking away. Then Bishop rejoins the fight, gets on in, Shock's very low. We're going right back into action though, because Flawed Logic about to get knocked up. Everyone, time to go invisible inside. Shock trying to get the damage down. Will not be able to hit multiple people with the enemy, but Holy Carp does go down. That's a lot of damage already gone for Purdue. But here comes Flawed Logic, here comes Bishop, and Liznasta, still the tanky Ornn, picking up so much damage right now. I don't know how this Ornn's doing so much damage. This is nuts.
Well, when you basically hit every single person in that fight with at least the beginning or the end of the Call of the Forge God, the Ornhorn going through and doing its work to help clean up those last few kills. And Claim Sparkle now is just going to look to continue to farm, but Echo over here in the opposing team's jungle. Shock seems to be careful not to get caught out at this stage.
Okay. Oh, that's what it is. Meant to ward. Used Zhonya's. You hate to see it.
You do. At least it's okay. It's a Zhonya's. All right. Well, it's fine. It's fine.
Put that one in the highlight reel for the end of the day.
Don't actually do that though. As we're seeing now, this fight heading into the late game. Baron is going to be a point of contention for both of these teams. If these Drakes have been any indicator, they are more than willing to take weird, scrappy fights for these objectives. And we'll see if that trend continues. Now only a 2K gold difference between these two squads.
Yeah, 2K here. Purdue has not been that much further ahead. Bishop's day will continue to get worse. He needs to be careful here because he was able to pick up a solid amount of gold. He has his Luden's Echo, but since then, just kind of feeding over kills, and he's no longer that 1-3, 1-4 little pup. He was a 4-5. What is a middle-aged? What are you after a pup? A hound, I think, is scarier.
Okay. Pupper. Doggo?
Doggo.
That'll work. No, it's not actually that. I'm just memeing.
He's a doggo right now.
Yeah.
He needed to grow his teeth, but he needs to continue to scale here and get to that power spike. Because again, Heimerdinger will fall off. When the other team is able to build MR, it really stunts the growth here.
What we're seeing now, I think, is the moment where both of these teams are going, this isn't going to be as easy as I thought it was going to. Both of these teams have found moments of success. Both of them have stumbled so far in this match. The question is going to be who can scale later and more comfortably, and who is going to be able to take the fights they actually want to take. Because it seems like every single fight has happened because they felt like they had to. Oh, I can't let them take that Drake. Oh, I don't want them to look towards that Herald. You can't take those. Sometimes you just got to give up an objective. I know these new, League of Dragons is fun and everything, but sometimes you just got to say, look, we're going to lose more than we're going to gain. We need to make the smart, mature decision. And despite all the fantastic season for both of these teams, it feels like 9.23 is kind of shaking that loose for a lot of them.
Yeah. Again, I think what hasn't been shaken loose is vision control, making sure you control these objectives. Hopefully they'll be able to find a place to fight over here. Again, Heimerdinger wants to fight around his turrets and set up a place and then force the rest of Illinois to come on in. They haven't been able to do that in a little bit, right? Last fight that we had was down by the Ocean Drake. Ocean Drake will be spawning here soon. You can see the marker up. Should be spawning in the next 30 to 45. But Bishop again getting blown up. The Kled ult popping up. Now Clam Sparkle in a little bit of trouble. The Sleepy Trouble Bubble not going to land, but Command Attack does go down. Shocks is pretty low. It doesn't have ult, but Holy Perk and a little trouble. Down he goes, and now Flawed Logic is the last one alive. No TP available for Liznasta because Topopotamus holding him, and a fight breaks out for the fighting Illini. They're able to get himself to safety. Flashes away. Liznasta in a lot of trouble. Will he be able to get away? Topopotamus so close. Will he be able to drop down the mace?
There we go.
In. There goes the hammer. Shut down Gold, and it's an ace out of nowhere for the fighting Illini.
Walking on into the jungle for Purdue was not the call, and the kiting from the Bosch, the protection to keep Kudarik alive, just allowed the Zaya to continue to shred on through, opening up so many possibilities in this game. And now the Fighting Illini are really fighting back in this late game, picking up the Baron as well, and going to be able to give it to every single member of their squad. And this is really going to allow them to open up the rest of the Rift, this mid turret, the last T1 standing for Purdue. They need to try and hold on some semblance of map control here, and they're going to do that by picking up another Elemental Drake of their own.
Yeah, the boys from Champaign starting to put theirs on ice to a perfect regular season. However, another Ocean Drake take. I don't know how many that is. I think that's three. Three Ocean Drakes here for Purdue. They're getting closer and closer to that Elder Drake spot. But again, the Illinois finding that fight kind of out of nowhere. Again, if you're Purdue, you want to fight around the turrets that Heimerdinger is able to set up. You want to get to these set plays, and Bishop, 7 deaths. You can't overlook that right now, especially given the start that the Boilermakers had earlier. He needs to make sure he's focused on staying alive.
Is indeed, and of course, as we do look towards that 4th Elemental Drake, the Dragon Soul is going to be an additional factor in these late game fights. And now we're seeing the initiation coming from the Echo. The stun is going to lock on through. Command Attack trying to follow up. Clan Sparkle trying to survive a little bit longer. The shield from the center, trying to keep the teammates alive. That's Command Attack actually going to be going down for just a second. Going to be able to res there at the front of the fight, but he's going to just get knocked down once again. Illinois very smartly not going to overcommit to that one. They put a lot of resources into trying to take down Clam Sparkle there, but we did actually see, looks like a bit of a pause coming out right now, so maybe some tech issues going through there with some of these teams. Want to make sure the players are playing to their absolute best at this stage, so we'll figure out what is happening there technically. Something happened.
Yeah,
Hopefully
something
it didn't affect that fight.
But again, not exactly sure why Command Attack was kind of that deep in between turrets. You have the super minions pushing. If anything, you could split up the map. With Kled, you're relatively safe. If you get ganked, you can use charge to get yourself out to safety. I don't think those aspects of the game change too much here in 9.23.
Yeah.
Also, a great ult by Ornn to split up the fight in the bottom side jungle to allow the rest of his team to focus onto Command Attack and pick up the kill and stop the push from Illinois.
Yeah, and Illinois looked like they were off to a bit of a great start there, but deciding to, again, they've got Baron buff, but they want to take scrappy fights. And I think this is sort of the thing we've seen all game long. It's, wow, feeling they need to do it, not actually necessarily the thing they should be doing. And you talk about the point in the game where the paddle stars just really start to hurt. Well, Kudarik experiencing that there in the middle. I talked about those squishy supports, those carries. Holy Curb can just start these fights off by buttering them up. It's real scary.
Yeah, I was looking at the replay. He was at 60% health. He went down to like 5% health. It's pretty insane right now, the amount of damage coming out of this Zoe with the Morellonomicon, the improved Luden's Echo.
Yep.
Definitely stinks. Definitely stinks to be anyone without MR. That includes Kuderik, who's has more gold, less kills. So we take a look at the gold graphs of the squad so far to kind of see where we're at in terms of itemization, because this gold lead, it's a 3,000 gold lead right now, and it's mostly in that jungler Shox. He's been around the map so far, making plays, using the Chrono Break to, I would say liberally. I'd say he's been using it liberally. He hasn't been to perfection, but has made some plays, gotten himself out of trouble, and bought enough time for the rest of his team to come back into fights. I'd say like 2 or 3 times now.
It's definitely better the alternative than it's holding that ult for a rainy day, and then the rainy day never comes, and you're just dead over and over because you're like, well, I was holding it for the perfect situation. Now, I like it when Echoes are a little bit more liberal with that usage, but I also have to give a lot of props to Purdue over the course of this Baron and now no longer acquired Baron buff from Illinois. They really only lost a few turrets for that, still holding on to all of their inhibs. I think having the poke from the Zoe to be able to just deny this in the Heimer as well really just shuts down any of the super coordinated pushing that Illinois is looking to do. They need to get a fight, to get some kills before they can really push through the defenses here at Purdue.
So that Baron buff, not going to be the most efficient here, I'd say, for Illinois. As you can see, Shox trying to go through the back and get the parallel convergent stun. And again, very liberal usage of the Chrono Break. If you're able to get Flawed Logic stunned out there, you imagine that you'd be able to get the Dredge line, Kuderik's able to get the feathers to run on out, and you pick one off, but you're lacking a lot of hard engage right now, and the counter engage through Liznasta is nasty.
Yes.
Holy Carp can go ahead and make anyone go get slept. So you're just trying to find ways to make plays happen. If you're Illinois, see if Purdue will step out of position. They've done so multiple times. If not, then you're kind of hanging around the Drake pit right now.
Yeah, I mean, for good reason. Unfortunately, on the UI, we don't currently have a great way to determine how many Drakes each team has acquired. They're looking for that number 4 to, of course, summon up that Elder Dragon and secure that Dragon Soul to continue to ramp up the pressure they're going to be able to do here. In this case, the regen that they are going to have at their disposal. We'll move on to the Elder Dragon once one team has secured 4 of those elemental drakes, so keep an eye on that one. But what an absolute bloodbath of a game so far. 20 kills to 18. These teams have not been afraid to fight. We're seeing right now going on through gold is Bishop. We are seeing the Senna ult to try and dissuade a little bit, but there's command attack right in the back. The multiple 4-man knock with the Call of the Forge God to try and reinitiate. Going on through right there in the front. Liznasta is just being an absolute beast in the front of this, splitting the fight, taking him down. And now this is Purdue looking to try and rally through all this with all the damage coming through the back. Going on through the corner break with the sleep. It's there. The sleeping trouble about to shut it right on down. Now it is Topopotamus up against the world. Can he survive a little bit longer? But Liznasta, through all of this, the mighty Ornn will not fall. And that is going to be the sleep, the collapse, and the execute from Purdue.
Liznasta went 1v4 on that last team fight. Bishop bought a lot of time with the Zhonya's. Big play there by him to finally not get burst down after getting caught, and the rest of Purdue able to come up huge in that fight. Again, look at this. Keep your eye on not only on Bishop after this hold, but Liznasta turns his ideas, turns his focus onto Kuderik, onto Topopotamus, who are the main damage dealers. Command attack goes in the back line, but he has nothing to do after that. And for such a long time, all the time that your Kled is buying, Zio is not able to hit any priority targets. By the time that Topopotamus was finally able to do anything, too little, too late, a 1v4. Big win there by Purdue in that last team fight.
Absolutely massive fight for Liznasta on the side of Purdue. They did take the Drake off the back of that fight as well. So able to convert those kills into objectives, which is absolutely massive. And of course, Baron is up, so look for vision control to be a priority on that side of the map for both of these squads moving forward. And I believe that is the 3. The indicator right now we're seeing is, so either they have the soul, look for there. Yeah, so Purdue looking in a really great spot. 25 kills in 19 in this game.
As great as that fight was, Purdue didn't take any major objectives off this other than the Ocean Drake. So the Ocean Drake now starting to become a factor in the game, but no Baron, no turret. The Bosch, oh no, he tried to fail the flash, or he tried to flash and he ended up failing. The ulti tickles his booty, and the Bosch will be able to stay alive for a little bit longer. What a great sleepy trouble bubble.
No.
The Bosch, another failed hook. We have not seen the Bosch be this frazzled in a very long time.
Oh, yeah.
But he is buying time to allow Command Attack to split push. This is what I wanted to see the Fighting Illini do beforehand. Wanted to see them split up the map when they had Baron. Liznasta, he's just toying with the damage
so
dealers
tanky.
of Illinois.
Like, we just saw full combo come out, almost full combo come out from Kuderek and Jacques, and he just shrugged it off with 70% HP. Liznasta at this point in the game can pretty much just take it over.
The worry here for Liznasta is that he has the masterwork items that'll definitely help out, but he's not going to be able to stop multiple people split pushing here. So I assume the trade here for Illinois is we're going to take this bottom inhibitor. Purdue's going to try to take the Baron, but now Purdue might be in a little trouble. Holy Carp has come back. Look at the damage that has gone down, but no follow-up on the ult. Kuderek does stay alive, but Purdue do take the Baron. And now Topopotamus just going to town here, finally gets slept. Holy Carp able to get the sleep down, and Topopotamus will trade his life. Clam Sparkle was able to kill Command Attack. Where was that across the map? Over by the Baron pit. Topopotamus does go down. That's 2 members down for Illinois, and Purdue will have a 3v5 advantage plus the Baron buff.
So, an interesting series of decisions being made for both teams there. Purdue saying, look, we'll give up the inhib for the Baron, for a turret, inhib turret Baron. So, interesting decision from them. They need, so as it stands right now, that was beneficial for Illinois. But what Purdue can do with this will determine whether or not they made the right decision. We're also showing that Topopotamus is getting to a point, his tankiness as well, where he can also start to slow things down. But they're not going to have it for 25 more seconds. We are going to see the Echo try and go on through, already popping the ult, but the root from Senna is there. Can they follow up on it, take down the Bosch? He's also getting to the point where he is tanky enough to try and survive, but Jacques doesn't have the additional option to get himself out. Will just have to run himself out. But all 4 members of Purdue, the 4-1 with Zoe poking through in the mid, they are going to take an inhib turret of their own. They're going to make this Baron buff worth it, D-Gun.
Yeah, they are. They get one. They'll take the top inhib turret. They still have minions shoving on up. Holy Park walked up the mid lane to see if he could get the minions going, and they will be shoving in. He did rotate back to the top side of the map to give cover if needed, and Purdue are going to reset after taking that top inhib. I assume then after this, because that bot inhib is gone for Purdue, they'll start focusing their efforts down on the bottom side of the map, not only to cover the lane where there are super minions coming in, but also start taking dragon vision control as you're getting closer and closer to that 4th elemental ocean drake.
Yeah, I mean, Purdue still hasn't even taken down the tier 1 turret down there on the bottom side of the rift, so definitely going to look to continue to leverage that one. 28 kills to 19. This has been a brawl from start to finish. Now getting into this late game portion where we're seeing, I don't know, people like Holy Kerp just start to single-handedly annihilate people. You get hit with a paddle star and there is no tomorrow. But we'll see if Illinois can be the ones to start off this fight and catch them off guard. That's really what they have to do at this point.
That's right. When this champion came out back at the end of Season 7 into Season 8, that was a lot of deletion Zoe. Got used to seeing a lot of that, but here we go. Will there be another opportunity? Holy Carp getting caught out. Will go down, so big pickup there, but the rest of the team has followed. Ord coming on in, able to pick up one. Clam Sparkle still on the chase, flashing over the wall.
Oh, no.
Kuderek not long for this world. Double shotgun, double barrel to the face. Down goes Zion.
And we're now seeing the point where Clam Sparkle, the jungler, is starting to enter that hard carry mode as well. Kuderek just cannot contest it at this point. Not point blank, not like that. That is where Graves lives. That is where he thrives. And we're seeing Purdue just standing up and saying, look, Illinois, this is our jungle. You can come in, you can try and make a play, but we'll sleepy trouble bubble you. We'll walk you into a choke. We'll hit you in the face with the call of the Forge God, and we will not look back. As now the second inhib turret is in their sights, and Clem Sparkle is still feeling so comfortable. Shox is trying to take him down, but there's just not enough gas in the tank to find it.
Yeah, that's another inhib turret down. The inhib will stay up. Purdue will back off and wait for their main damage dealer in Holy Carp. But the Ocean Drake is spawning. It's on its way. You can see already the timer has been put up. Just kidding. Elder Drake is spawning.
There we go.
We know that the Elder Drake has this new passive, the auto attack passive. Any auto attack below 20 HP is an execution. I can't wait to see if that is what manifests here as Purdue will rotate themselves down to the bottom side of the map, put the pings on it, and it doesn't look like Illinois are anywhere near close to taking this one.
Yeah, below that 20% threshold, that is where, well, you just go by 0.5 seconds is all they need. But look at this, the stage of the game. There's already so much damage on the side of Purdue. They're going to take that down by themselves, and they're multitasking. They're killing the entire side of Illinois while they do so. Topopotamus is already absolutely chunked. Going to be able to continue to take that one down. Call the Forge guy now to continue to leverage this in the back, though. Shock's trying to do as much damage as possibly can, but the Senate is going to try and do it before it's dropped as well. Bishop now going to be the next target. Tries to fight into, but Clam Sparkle is just such a threat through all this. Bishop trying to get chased down, but Holy Carp is still in this, still alive, and Purdue is still looking so confident. Try and take down Kuderik as well, and that is just going to be it. Lanasta can just walk him off the rift, and with that, I don't think there's much of an option here. Only one member of Illinois still survives.
Yeah, command attack charging on in with the Kled, just too little, too late. A big knockup by Liznasta, the clear MVP for this squad, leading to the upset. Purdue will be taking game number 1 here. Shocks, the final man alive. He's been the one trying to make the plays, able to get to the back line, able to take down Bishop, running away, waiting to use Chrono Break in just a second. Parallel Convergence will come out, but not going to be enough. Shocks using it, and it's Purdue, the Boilermakers, with the team draft that looked a little bit more suited for this new patch, getting game number 1.
And you saw it there. Their decision-making in the early mid-game, a little bit questionable from both teams, but Purdue was able to rally, able to weather everything that was thrown at them. Liznasta came online, and then the Graves came online, and then things just started to look scary. They got their confidence in that late game. They just got to the point where they realized, wait, they just can't kill us, and we can absolutely whack them. Like, we saw them taking Elder Dragon while simultaneously taking a fight, and they were splitting that fine. Eventually, everybody joined in on the fight in the jungle, but that was still just goes to show how much damage they had at their disposal. They felt comfortable being able to do multiple things at once.
Yeah, and I think I go back to the mid lane. When you had command attack, blows flash early, and still die, that really put that mid lane behind, the Kled pick behind. Kled is your way to buy time when you're riding Skarl. It's almost like you have a built-in GA, so any burst damage, it's anti-burst, right? You've got so much burst damage on the opposite side, but when you are falling that far behind, now Xayah is getting a little bit further behind on the bottom side of the map because the jungler doesn't need to focus the mid lane anymore because the mid lane has its own lead. Zoe's able to make her own plays with the Sleeping Trouble Bubble into the Paddle Star. And then all of a sudden, Ornn just dished way more damage than what we've seen in a very long time out of that tanky top laner. It was a very, very cool watch here to see Purdue put together their preparation and put together a draft that looked good. That was the worry that I had. That was the worry that Returned had in the draft. The draft looked more suited for 9.22. You had Xayah, you had Nautilus, all these tanky boys. You throw in Kled to try to get a little clever. Maybe use the Mordekaiser and the Sanguine Blade trick, but it never really manifested itself.
No.
Topopotamus was forced to build tanky because these fights are popping off left and right, and once they lost control of the dragon, they needed to start fighting at the dragon, which means he needs to be at the fights rather than solo pushing. It was just a cascading issue of events.
And even those late game fights, you have the additional aspect of the Dragon Soul with the Ocean Drake, and everybody's you got the regen and the HP, and everyone's just, nobody's dying. It just takes so long. But you in return called it. You thought that draft was just a little bit more suitable for 9.23. We actually have Return standing by to break down one of the sick plays in that last game.
Exactly. Thank you guys very much. And of course, it was Purdue with, I think, the slightly more advantageous comp on 9.23 that was able to get them the early leads. I think it definitely was here towards the end of the game with their decision-making that was able to claw the victory right back as Illinois started to creep on in. And as we see this one, as this play develops, you can see that this is actually that Baron bot lane split push play. And in 99% of teams, especially at this collegiate level, this would be a terrifying proposition. This is Illinois leveraging that veteran status, saying, if you take this Baron, we will end the game. And there are a few things that you can do here. Either for Purdue, you have the confidence in the members who are back. So you have the Ornn right up here. You can see his little behind on the edge of the screen. And also you can have the rest of the members here on the Baron. But what Purdue here is actually perfect. They know that there is no way that this grouping of players is going to end the game. Mordekaiser doesn't take towers that quickly. Echo still is pretty underfed from the... actually, he's coming up a little bit, 9, 6, and 3, but isn't going to be able to take the game himself. Same thing with the Xayah. She's not going to be able to end the game before Baron gets done. And as it's this commitment to leveraging the Baron pressure and Illinois' inability to commit 5-man to this play, that does eventually let Purdue play this one out. And as we do let this one roll for just a little bit longer, you can see that, if you have Kled down this bottom side, maybe you have a legitimate chance to pull Purdue off this Baron. But splitting your chances is hard with Illinois already being in a disadvantageous position given the Baron. It just blows this game completely wide open. While Command Attack's able to get a little bit of pressure to stop them from backing, it is this set of events, it is the calmness coming out of Purdue that lets them play that through, that lets them overcome Illinois at the end of game number 1. Back to you guys on the desk.
Thanks so much, Returned. And I have to say, yeah, just the heads-up knowledge, the foresight to know, look, these 3 champs can't end the game. I'm looking at this original, I'm like, wow, that's a strong macro decision there from Illinois. They're going to sack Baron, but they're going to take Inhib. They may even take some Nexus. They might threaten the Nexus here. This is huge, but it was the fact that the Mordekaiser went down, the tankiest member. That was huge. He wasn't able to get out. Zai did. Everyone else did. That's fine. But then they didn't have him for the defense. I'm like, well, what can they do with this next? This becomes a better decision. This becomes the right decision for Purdue if they can at least equalize with the Baron buff. And they did, which just shows that their decision-making is just stepping up to the next level. This is why they're part of the reason they're able to take the game from Illinois.
Yeah, we've seen so many pro teams kind of fail at this. What is the decision we do when we go make the Baron call? Are we going to burst it down? Do we recall? Do we send the right player back? Do we send the right champion back to recall? Yep. And in this case, the Boilermaker is able to pass with flying colors, and they take game number 1 today.
Yeah, it was definitely I think the term you like to use is slobber knocker there. A lot of kills going back and forth. Both of these teams showing that they like to fight, which I think is good for us because we're in for one heck of a series here. Before we get too much further into this, though, I need to remind everybody about ESL Collegiate on Twitter. Not only can you follow us there to keep up to date with all the cool stuff that we're doing with the ESL Collegiate program, but you can also vote on things like, I don't know, the Cast and Chat Chowdown. And this is your last chance to do so because we only have one match today, which means that if you want to vote on what we'll be eating later on in the show, you know, what amazing, delicious food Grubhub is going to be bringing us, you need to go vote right now. So head on over to Twitter, ESL Collegiate, to get that one.
Be nice, please. That's all I ask. Be nice. I'm hungry, but I would like to eat something yummy.
Look, I think all the food's been pretty delicious. Just some of it's been too spicy for poor, sweet, sensitive Degon over
I've
here.
got baby lips here. You know, you see these baby lips?
Should have seen him week 1 with those wings. That was actually hilarious.
That's terrible.
He died. He just couldn't do it. All right, we're going to hop onto a short
Thanks,
break.
Grubhub.
Thanks, Grubhub. When we return, game number 2, Purdue, Illinois. Don't want to miss it. BTN 2019 Preseason Invitational. We just saw game number 1 between Illinois and Purdue. And defying all expectations, Purdue come out with a strong 1-0.
Not all expectations.
Hey, hold on.
So we had a couple of us here that were willing to
Pretty sure
pop
they were the
on in
majority.
and say that they were going to
Defying my expectations. Purdue come out with the victory in game number 1. Return to talk to you about transitive properties in just a second. I'm sure I'm in Verum. That's Degon in return. Return.
You sure? I'm sure I'm Degon.
I know you're Degon.
But who am I?
Let's return.
I know you are, but who am I?
Return, talk to us about what was the big thing coming into this, the reason you were favoring Purdue, and especially to do with the matchup versus Minnesota.
Yeah, I think it was not only because just the way that we saw Illinois match up in Minnesota, some of the fundamentals weren't quite there. You could tell that there's quality in that team, but it really wasn't just gelling, and I think a lot of that is due to some roster shakeups. But when Purdue got their chance at Minnesota, they made Steve Serbutka-Kongas cry. They put him in the ground to make their way into the playoffs. So I think just by looking at that, we were expecting Purdue to be competitive here. And I think like the cherry on top for me was the draft. I think Purdue very effectively prepared for this matchup. I think they knew what they wanted to play in 9.23. Illinois, they had some really good macro points, but I think Purdue just won it out in the end.
Yeah, it's cool to see Illinois be a team that has always been better. You've had better players. You're able to out micro teams.
Right.
And in this case, also make some macro plays that were pretty cool as well, especially at the very end, the Baron shove. It was more of a desperation play. But now how are they going to adapt now that it seems like they're behind the patch? Are they going to be able to make an adaptation here live? And do Purdue have something else to go with other than just the Senna? I assume the Senna is going to get banned out, and now you're kind of forced back into this 9.22 champ pool with the 9.23
I like the idea
patch.
that 9.23 is just 9.22 Senna stapled onto it.
Yeah,
just
yeah,
slap it on.
I mean,
yeah.
how many times did Senna come up with huge plays there?
Pretty big, yeah.
Quite a few. Yeah, those deals are pretty clutch. And I think one of the big things that you actually mentioned, Degon, going into that is, does Illinois not want to show stuff? Was this really a standard 9.22? Not because they don't know how to play 9.23, not because they don't have comps in mind, but because they just don't want to give anything away. Because, of course, this will be our semifinal matchup for the BTN Finals. These two teams have already secured themselves the place there, which means that if we're looking at a long, drawn-out, best of 5 scenario or best of 3 scenario, whatever it may be, that's a lot of potential to bring in some spicy comps. And maybe Illinois is like, look, we're just going to play hyper standard, or what was standard, and not give anything away, not show our champ pool at all. But now I think if they do want to walk away with the win here, which I think they still do, I think they definitely still want to get this victory. They want to walk away with the W. They want to go undefeated all season long. They're going to need to adjust a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree again, and we're playing for side selection here. Always very important when you get into a playoff kind of setting. It's not that, hey, look, if you win your blue side all the time, you're going to have the whole week to allow the which side has the higher win percentage, which side is stronger.
Yeah, and I think that also a good part of that is I don't really see the value in hiding things here because we've only been on 9.23 for a little bit. I don't think anyone's found the smoking gun at 0.23, and you have about a week and a half to prepare for those semifinals and finals, of course, on December 7th. I don't think there's really much value to hiding. I think you just rather get side selections 1, 3, 5. I think you just want to run through.
Yeah, I don't think they found the smoking gun, but there's definitely a smoking cannon in the form of Senna, right? Senna's cannon really led to a lot of
It's a very big gun.
setups there, including the big play at the Dragon Pit that allowed Clam Sparkle to really open up the multi. I think he had a double kill there. That's when Holy Carp got a little bit further ahead as well. That was a 3-man snare, and it's just awkward to play against, but it looks like Senna will have the opportunity to get through unless Illinois ban it out with that final pick here.
We'll see if they opt to do so. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case, just how not only impactful she was in the laning phase, but also later on as those fights progressed. And it was actually interesting. I was doing research on Senna going into, a couple weeks ago when she was released and reading some of the developer notes and articles. Yeah. And when they were actually animating her, they literally made a full-size version of the relic cannon and had the animators run around with it to see how you'd physically move with it.
That sounds very
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so I saw a bunch of pictures of an animators running around with this giant gun. And you know what? That's the fun part of game development, right?
Yeah,
that's what everybody wants to do.
Yeah, but with him, like any other company, somebody just running around with a giant can, I feel like that would draw a few eyes. I feel like it's just another day.
It was just literally a foam block that was had some handles. It wasn't even I'm sure they'll make a really nice one at some point, but it was just this giant polystyrene brick. But anyway, there's the draft. And Ornn is back. No real surprise given how impactful Ornn was in that last game. Of course, now in the hands of likely Topopotamus.
Yeah, but I think the bigger takeaway here, I was going to say it would be the Graves that did go to Illinois. I think Leeson's still very much that same idea. But I think Illinois are starting to adapt to what the jungle mid synergies are. Before it was like, who's got the better 2v2? And I think you could make an argument that Illinois had the stronger 2v2 that game. But it's about the 1v1 of junglers. If your jungler can beat up the other jungler, you have priority nearly anywhere you go on the map. Graves and Echo, that was the case.
This is high-level analysis here. If your jungler can kill the other jungler, your jungler will have priority.
Exactly. Best form of CC.
I think at level 6, that was kind of the case, you know, with the Echo and having Chrono Break, but the issue is that they fell behind early, and it was to a Graves Zoe game.
Yeah.
Like, that should not work, no matter what champion you're playing against, unless you get hit by a Sleepy Treble Bubble. And I think that's why it's just more of an anomaly here for Command Attack. Shox will shift over to the Lee Sin. He wins the 1v1s as long as you're able to land the Sonic Wave and a Resonating Strike, especially against this Graves who wants to farm a little bit more until he gets his early items.
Yeah. I definitely think this is a 9.23, though. We talk about farming junglers. This is a great time to bring back in, I think, some of those sort of AD marksman jungles. I wouldn't be surprised to see. You know, I think we saw Kindred actually in the other game you mentioned before coming through. Was that actually, where was that land?
That was in the jungle. So that was the Iowa Northwestern. It was a bloodfest. I mean, Kindred for the side Northwestern, Lucian for side Iowa. I think they had like 30 kills combined by the end of that game. Of course, Iowa was able to take the W on that side. But big change. Speaking of ADCs, I'm interested to see what Purdue locks in. I want to look smart, so immediately I'm just going to say Caitlyn and put a pin in it.
Yep.
Hey! There we go.
Right as you said, you weren't even looking, but right as that happened. That was so. Watching some pro streams over the last week, people have been saying Caitlyn is kind of where it's at right now. Apparently, a lot of the top pros are saying she is going to be one of these really hotly contested sort of ADCs, these carry pickups. So we'll see how Purdue's going to pull it out. With the Poppy as well to really shut down any mobility looking towards the Blanc, the Lee Sin. I'm really liking what Purdue is doing here.
Yeah, and also countering the second half of Topopotamus's ult. Oh, they're going to rotate it down to the bottom side of the map, down to the Bosch. And again, same idea, though. You go down to the bottom side of the map, you stop the game-breaking ultimate for these team fights where Command Attack will be able to pick apart people. Kuderek will not only have his ultimate for safety, but then the Ornn ultimate for safety. Poppy is like, you've got one job in these team fights.
Steadfast presence.
Steadfast presence.
Yeah, definitely. I think that with that Illinois, I do like that quick move around at the end. Of course, Poppy's still a strong lane up there, but when you have a Lee Sin already to augment that top lane 2v2, it's looking very scary.
It is. I mean, as we're looking at predictions now for game number 2, my gut instinct traditionally would be like, go back with Illinois. Illinois is going to recover. They're not going to let this be a 2-0 victory. They're not going to go out quietly. But I also really like this draft from Purdue. I like a lot of the things they're putting together here. It feels like it was very well thought out. Having the Ornn in the support position, of course, still going to be impactful, but not nearly as a scary presence. And the GP is still going to be there. But I actually got to go Purdue. I got to flip-flop here. I think Purdue's going to close this out 2-0.
Yeah, I like the draft of Illinois a little bit better, but I think the momentum of Purdue is more than enough to get them through it. No one's going to have their hands on Senna, so how are we going to do with normal champions now on 9.23? Purdue Boilermakers 2-0.
All right, well, I think I got to go against this one. I think it's Illinois. You gave Topopotamus Gangplank. You have Elisa in the jungle, and you gave Command Attack LeBlanc. Those things are just like, if you get all 3 of those checks, the game's over. I think that Illinois, they're going to show their individual class. I think they take this one, turn it 1-1.
All right, well, you heard it here. Again, a split desk. I can see everybody's point of view on this one. It's going to come down to execution as we get into game number 2. Illinois taking on Purdue. Both of these teams looking for that side selection as we get into our semifinals for the BTN finals here for the BTN 2019 preseason invitational. Thank you so much for joining us for this fun, awesome opportunity to watch these teams hone their skills over the last few weeks. From all of us here at the Crew ESL, it has been an absolute pleasure to have all of you cheering on your teams. We see so many awesome fans in the chat week after week, so thank you so much.
Thanks, Grubhub.
Also, thanks, Grubhub. you just got to say it.
For sure. Again, slightly different here. I like the fact that Kuderek will have another opportunity on the Xayah to get good and warmed, after being warmed, not get good. That's how it's meant. Sorry, Kuderek. Command Attack.
Look, his Feather Storms were sick last game.
They were good.
They were really good. He
didn't have a lot of opportunities to dish out damage.
No, he was always on the back step. He was always running. It was like Graves made it his claim. Sparkle was like, yo, it's my job to just never let you do anything.
Right. Also, Topopotamus on the GP, just going to sail on the top side of the map. And then Command Attack. I like the adaptation. They saw Zoe, and now they're going back to command attack with the champion that will likely try to outplay the Zoe, right? Paddlestar, once you sling it forward, it's going that direction. The Sleepy Trouble Bubble, once you shoot it out, it's going that direction. You're able to dodge a lot more with the distortion from LeBlanc, and it's pretty snowballing. If you get the LeBlanc rolling, should be able to roam just as fast, if not faster, than Zoe to those side lanes, and then start accelerating your win conditions there.
And you need to look towards these win conditions if you are Illinois, because if I look at the scaling of Purdue, yeah, you're going to have GP moving up, but Lee Sin is going to fall off, and you're going to have the Poppy who's just going to get tankier and tankier and just be so annoying as this game goes on. Combining that with the Caitlyn, the Zoe, and the Graves, you've got so many options to play through as the game goes on. And I can't discount the Zaya, and I can't discount the LeBlanc, but Ornn is going to be doing a lot for the team as a whole, but he's not going to be as scary as when we saw him up in that solo top lane, because of course with the XP changes, he was even being further propelled ahead. And not seeing a Mordekaiser Ornn matchup in this game. Yeah. Very different than all the games we saw in the BTN for that last one, because that was the matchup in literally every single one.
Yeah, all 3 games happening
at the start of the day.
Yeah, we checked in with Iowa, Illinois, Iowa, Northwestern.
Yeah.
And the other match as well. All 3 of them, according to our game admins, were that same matchup that we saw as Holy Curb, little trouble. Not used to seeing him force that back, and now he's
Ignite.
Burning. Whoa, but he's
there
able to pick up the first blood. It's Graves, Clam Sparkle, right place, right time. And again, first blood heading on over to Purdue, this time slightly differently. One more auto attack will do it. The distortion over the wall gets command attack back to safely. And slightly different gold leads here. Now, Logic on the bottom side of the map, and the Bosch is having a terrible day. It gets slightly worse. The early death on the bottom side.
The Bosch is always one of these players who we compliment over and over. He's been this consistent force for the side of Illinois, sort of the bedrock that a lot of this team moves around.
Not done.
But so far today, he has not been able to be that impact we sort of know and love for the side of Illinois. And it seems like Purdue, you talked about the idea of momentum moving into this game, Degon, and it seems like the momentum is still here. Clam Sparkle able to deny the first blood off the back of a point-blank whiff of the Sleepy Trouble Bubble from Holy Kerp. Able to still walk away with that first blood gold.
Yeah, and it was a quick flash by Holy Carp that led to all the chaos between Shocks and Command Attack, and it gave time for Clam Sparkle to get on in and clean things up and almost pick up the second kill onto Command Attack. So even in a failed play, a gank where he dies, it was smart enough for him to buy some more time.
And now we're seeing some attempted use of the alcoves here going on through, forcing the response from the Bosch on the back of the hook. The dredge line from Flawed Logic. No real CC here to continue the pressure there on the Bosch, but Clam Sparkle is just going to help continue to push out this lane. But of course, not securing that gank means that now you're not going to be getting as much XP for those. The gold not going to really be as impactful. He needs to get back in the jungle. He needs to get back to farming.
Well, what they're trying to do is shove the wave into the turret so that Bishop and Flawed Logic can get a clean recall. It uses a lot of HP. It spends a lot of time with Graves down on the bottom side of the map, but they're able to do so the recall will mean that the wave will crash in the middle of the lane. However, Shocks is more than happy to say, all right, well, spend your time down there. I'll go take your topside jungle.
And this is exactly what I'm talking about, because now that quicker uptime in the jungle, yeah, of course you did have that. The recall came on through. That was totally great. Purdue got what they wanted out of that. But Illinois, very smart to respond with the correct decision. And now Shocks is going to be able to try and leverage that into a gank in the mid. However, the sleep going to be shutting that one down. Command Attack was the one target. Shocks is going to be able to escape with his life. So nice little play there from the side of Purdue to not only shut down the gank, but almost going to kill their own.
Yeah, and a bit too aggressive there by Clam Sparkle with the flash forward. Does not have ultimate. Spent a lot of time on the bottom side of the map. Felt good with that item buy that he had. But again, just a little too overzealous. And Holy Carp now getting a lot more focus from Shocks to keep Command Attack safe and scaling through this game.
Which is going to be so important looking towards this late game, as both of these teams have comps that can activate a little bit earlier and look towards the side of Illinois in particular, but also feel comfortable taking it late. As we now see, once again, sort of back to standard laning here for both of these teams. And I mentioned it before in game number 1, seeing how these new support items are going to come into play here. Just going to be able to leverage that through sort of the passive quest of that not needing to spend the additional gold is great if you are a support player. But if you're the boss, you need to be careful not to get caught out once again because the root just come on through. The follow-up is there, but flawed logic. Nice flash out, dodging. Resonating strike, the sonic wave, everything
Bishop.
now.
Trap City, baby. Oh, and Kuderik able to step away from that one. I thought Bishop was able to get the cheeky, aggressive trap, but now the heal comes on out. Lee Sin going in. The cannon barrage from the top side of the map helps out, and Zaya picks up the shutdown goal.
And there it is, getting a little bit overconfident is the side of Purdue. The secret trouble bubble is not going to connect. They're going to try and go on through this, forcing out the flash. Bishop's going to be the target. Shock's going to try and go back on him, but the Lee Sin is now deep behind enemy lines. Bishop can stay alive. The Death Cove. You talked about this before. Just often someplace people just sort of run to die.
Yeah, you see a lot of that in the alcove. Again, people have not found correct ways to use that in counter ganks. That's usually the end result. But great flash early by Kuderik. Now Ace and Hole gonna land, not gonna quite kill him. Did use the heal. And so Caitlyn Bishop able to assert a little bit of dominance there on the bottom side of the map. He's gonna actually stay there on the bottom side and wait for the recall. Bosch is there too, so Caitlyn needs to be careful, maintain that distance on the bottom side of the map as we follow along back in mid lane. Oh, that's why they stayed to get a couple more auto attacks off.
This is just a back and forth between these two carries right now. But 1 kill for the Zaya, 3 assists for the Caitlyn, and both pretty much even in terms of those CS. So definitely be keeping an eye on both of those and seeing just how strong Caitlyn is going to continue to get as this game ramps. Because we talked about Kuderik playing Zaya in the last game, and he had a lot of great sort of individual mechanical moments from a defensive stance, but we never really saw him going in, securing a lot of the big damage, setting up his team, executing on those kills. He was always just sort of being pushed back by the relentless aggression of Purdue. I want to see what these fights look like when his team can be the ones to set things up.
Yeah. They need to take that proactive nature to make some plays. Well, you know, all behind.
Yeah, I mean, and that was really the thing. Both of those teams, I don't even feel like for most of that last game, either team was really deciding that was making a conscious decision to start the fight. They just sort of erupted.
And that's not how it should have been. But I just remember Bishop so many times on the Heimerdinger just kind of walking into a brush and then dying.
That happened before a couple major fights. We saw it in the river. We saw it up top. But we'll see, like, I think he's being a little bit more comfortable back. Yeah, he doesn't really have the mobility as much. Well, still doesn't have the mobility as much here on this Caitlyn, but that additional range, I think, allowing him to play just a bit safer in this matchup as we're seeing...
Alcove, baby!
Woo! Alcove plays for days! As we're seeing the Bosch once again dropping. That is already 3 deaths. The Bosch just not having his day today here in the BTN Preseason Invitational.
Also, Clam Sparkle spent an insane amount of time on the bottom side of the map, and now Clam Sparkle might be in a little trouble. Oh, he missed the ultimate! That would have been the damage necessary for Shox to go down. He will pick up the kill in the end, but Shox able to answer back on the bottom side of the map. A 2-for-1 overall for Purdue.
Yeah, still a favorable trade there for Purdue, but a lot of time spent by Clam Sparkle down there that was not farming, which you can just keep doing infinitely now at this point. That's also interesting to note now that we do have the Rift Herald spawned as well as these Drapes supposed to look towards, but this is the fight starting out at the bottom. The GP wanted to get involved as well, but Flawed Logic is going to be the frontliner here for this bottom, but look at how much damage the Caitlyn is already doing. Nice flash out from the Bosch to secure his staying alive, but needs to be careful because if Bishop wants to get a little bit hypey here, he possibly could, as Lee Sin's now looking towards this Drake, taking advantage of priority guarantee.
And that's exactly why you saw the Bosch play aggressively, flash forward, drop the ignite. It was not only, wow, a lot of damage going down to Kuderik again. Not only to pick up the kill, which they were able to, but buy the time to allow them to take the Infernal Drake. Heads on over to Illinois, and Purdue with the right answer. Clam Sparkle, he's not in the bottom alcove anymore. He's finally on the top side of the map taking something here. The Rift Herald should be his. Good play by Holy Carp to also shade to that top side to prevent the mid laner and the jungler from Illinois, who just finished on the bottom side of the map, to pressure his own jungler.
Both these junglers, I think, have been doing a fantastic job of finding the balance between farming and ganking, which I think is going to be the next sort of big question that we see going into 9.23, is how these junglers sort of adapt to having the plethora of resources there in their jungles, in their opponents' jungles. But already we're starting to see Holy Curp just hitting hard. We saw the Paddle Stars in the last game able to almost one-shot people, and we're starting to see that damage already begin to ramp as Flawed Logic walking towards this pit. We do see Shocks is going to be there. Call the Forge God to try and shut this one down. Already looking to hook himself back on out. Use the ward to continue to jump on through is Shocks, finding the kill. There's the first one. The two members I should say, are grouping up in the mid. But a great job from Illinois now, because now this Rift Herald they can't follow up with it at all. It's just going to go in and die.
Yeah, Holy Carp tried to do his best to clear out the minion wave. Will it be able? It's charging up.
Still going to charge.
I will get on in. Yes, it will, but Clam Sparkle died in the process. Bishop a little late with the heal. Kuderic getting the snare down, and the botch does go down. A 2-for-1 overall with that little bit of skirmish. Couple plates heading on over to Purdue, though.
Yeah, so trading out some plates for a kill. Good job there from Illinois to punish that one. Pretty much dead even in terms of goal to this point. Kuderic needs to be very cautious. They're going to try and go back in. The heal is there from Shocks. Featherstorm as well, trying to get himself back in. But there we go, the shutdown onto the Lee Sin. But Command Attack has joined in the party. Holy Curb's going to try and get this one down, but the root is there. Can he follow this one up? The heal to try and lock this one down. Yes! With the additional movement speed, Holy Curb gets it done.
Yeah, and Kuderic got a little too cute there. Used heal earlier, and that was picked up by Zoe. He was safe, but then he turned back around to try to get a couple auto attacks, buy some time to allow Command Attack to join on in. The heal movement speed closed the gap, and Kuderic goes down.
Nice play there from both sides, but Purdue just sort of able to find the upside to a lot of these trades. The kills are going back both ways, but it always just seems like Purdue able to just slightly get a more favorable trade in these situations. So we're just going to continue to see how these Drakes go on through. Keep an eye on that as we will be seeing shortly what this Rift will be evolving into with these changes, of course, with Rise of the Elements. Super, I mean, I love how much like it feels like the game is so fresh and new moving into 9.23. It seems like a pretty drastic preseason update, and I'm loving a lot of the changes so far.
Yeah, definitely remember a lot of the changes being like, this is what the future of the game is, and people not liking it. This one seems like, hey, this is the future of what the game is, and people are intrigued by it.
Yeah.
I think there may be some issue with the RNG nature of how the map's going to work out, but in the meantime, it's definitely been a lot of fun to discover, and doesn't seem to be a change backwards by any means.
No, I think, you know, giving more options and more creativity to teams when it comes to some of these decision makings, especially in the early game. Do we want to look for this Rift Herald or the second Rift Herald? Do we want to prioritize these Drakes? That's going to be the questions. We're seeing the fight breaking out down in the bottom. Kuderic is going to be the first target. The follow-up is there. Once again, we're seeing the rotation from the jungler doing so much work. Clam Sparkle and crew, and these dredge lines from Flawed Logic just so solid. Now being able to convert this into a turret as well, very likely, or at least a good chunk of it. Not gonna be able to get the turret plating, but still picking up 2 kills. Purdue looking so solid in this early game.
Yeah, we gave Clam Sparkle a lot of flack for spending so much time down on the bottom side of the map. He goes up top. They don't win clean trades, and now he goes back down. It's a clean 2-0 yet again. A lot of chip damage onto the turret as well, and Purdue take control of the game once again.
11 kills to 7 now. The gold lead starting to extend for Purdue, as we're seeing this game just kind of continue to look solid for them overall, maintaining the momentum. We do have an update, though, from one of our other matches going on right now. Return, what's going on?
Thanks, guys. Bringing it over to Wisconsin versus Nebraska. Wisconsin goes up 1-0 to start this series. In Game 2, a quick 2 picks followed through by some clean Baron fighting is able to give Wisconsin the advantage and the Baron as they're looking out to close out the series 2-0 and put an end to their preseason in style versus Nebraska. Back to you guys.
So much return. Yeah, Wisconsin looking solid in that one. Fights are breaking out in this game as well. Just seeing the invade from Illinois paying off. Nice sidestep there from Command Attack. Holy Curp not quite being able to get that one done, but still, nice pickup. That's the sort of proactive play. That is the initiative that I need to see from Illinois. They need to continue to keep the pressure. They have the Lee Sin. They've got a lot of early game damage that they can be doing. They need to do it, Degon.
Yeah, they do, and they've done a solid job controlling this Drake pit as well. Another Ocean Rift coming on to the Rift. A lot more shrubbery, brushery.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Oh, so refreshing.
Keep an eye on that.
Topopotamus.
Topopotamus getting aggressive.
And this is interesting because as this matchup goes on, both of these champions are going to scale. Top bottom is just going to continue to ramp up the damage, and Lanasta is just going to continue to get this tanky, disgusting frontliner there for the squad. Flawed Logic able to walk out, dodge the Featherstorm. Now Kudarik. Whoa! Okay.
So Bishop had a terrible Heimerdinger game. Now I can say it's terrible because we've seen what he can do when he's having a great game, and it's dominate. 6-1-5. He's gotten a lot of the attention from Clam Sparkle. Can he carry this game? That's a big thing. All players in League of Legends can get fed, but only the great ones can carry.
Well, 6-1-5 is a great start to find the carry. Being involved in 11 of the 13 kills your team has been able to put together, taking down the turret as well. Going to look to probably have this bot and top lane swap here. Yeah, you can see them all recalling, going to do just that. And the GP does as well, knowing that that is how things are going to be going in the mid. We do see Holy Curb in a world of hurt, but the Sleepy Trouble Bubble is there to shut down command attack. But Holy Curb maybe staying just a little bit too long.
He'll stay.
And now with the additional changes to the map, he now has the fruit to get himself just a little bit of safety. I like it. I like it, utilizing what the game's going to give you.
Yeah, command attack just missing the damage numbers right now. 3-0-0, just not quite there yet. You can see him. He's hunting. He's looking for possible assassination. Will not find it, but Flawed Logic, he's in a lot of trouble. He's in between 3 members.
This could potentially be a rough position. They're not aware of just how many members of Illinois are here. They're going to go in, find the initiation. Clan Sparkle's going to be in a little bit of trouble, and here comes the Ornhorn to continue to push this on through. There's the Annihilation. Multiple members are going down. Blood Lodge coming to the next target, and they're going to try and get this kill, secure it. They do, chasing on through into the rest of the jungle. Command attack to not overextend, forced to flash back now and push back into the wall. That's actually going to be Holy Curb on a killing spree, finding a little bit of retaliation, redemption in the jungle.
Yeah, and command attack got very lucky there. I think his Mimic clone stepped in front of the paddle star that was coming from distance by Holy Carp, but not exactly sure what the Boilermakers were doing, just randomly walking into brush. You knew that one of your main damage in the form of Holy Curp was there, as you can see. That's why you need to fight when he's around. Shock's so low, Kudarik's so low, but instead the Boilermakers walk to their doom. Illinois getting a little bit back here off of a scrappy fight on the top side of the map.
Scrappy seems to be the name of the game, which is not traditionally an adjective that I would use to describe Illinois in the past. They've always seemed so calculated, and I'm wondering how much now, looking at this, how much of that was a lot of the influence of Xeno, just sort of this calm presence in the mid who did so much for them now with command attack sort of falling into this roster. And now it seems like they're a lot more, I don't want to say scatterbrained, but it doesn't seem like they're quite as together as we've seen them in the past. It feels like Purdue is able to exploit a lot of the weaknesses that maybe weren't there last time around. It also seems like Purdue has improved a lot.
Yes, and I think that's because specifically in this game, it's been a bit broken. The Bosch is falling further and further behind, so you're running out of lanes to play through. Command attack's done what he's been able to do so far. 5-0, the focal point of this team in terms of DPS right now. So I think it's less of a shot calling issue, more of adjusting to a rough start by your normally stable bottom side of the map.
And I have to give a lot of props to Clam Sparkle for that. That's probably, part of the reason why that bot lane just was not going as well. Constantly finding pressure down there, as well as these fantastic dredge lines from Flawed Logic, just never letting Illinois feel comfortable in that lane matchup there, despite the fact that the Xayah should be able to just sit back, CS fairly well, poke fairly well, but the Caitlyn being played to perfection by Bishop has just looked so strong. Already got those 2 items underway, and this is where he's just going to continue to get scarier and scarier, especially now post 20 minutes. Baron is going to be a factor.
Yeah, with rapid fire cannon, just so annoying to play against when you fall behind a Caitlyn. You can't reach her, and all of a sudden, pop, she gives you a ton of damage right in the face. And if you're not able to trade that back, you're starting the next trade already down probably about to 75% health. Caitlyn loves those kind of fights. Bishop needs to be careful about where he walks into, though. He's had multiple issues, not only today, but throughout the season, of mindlessly walking in. You know what the right thing is to do, but you got to follow it out. Right there. That's what I'm talking about. Like, you've got all the tanky boys right behind you. Why are you the one starting the push here? Let Flawed Logic get in front. Clam Sparkle can also get away. You can have the Sleepy Trouble Bubble from Holy Carp. Let someone else get in front. You are the VIP.
This is not what we're seeing from Bishop right now, and he's paying for it, taking a lot of early chip damage, which means this push is going to get slowed down a decent amount. The 80 they need to push through this turret is not going to be there. It's also interesting to note they swapped to mid and not to top, which is sort of an interesting adaptation here. I think a lot of this has to do with the proximity to these bottom Drakes. They want to make sure they can take advantage of that. And the damage from this Zoe just cannot be stopped. And there's the follow-up there. The Ornhorn will not do enough because the damage has already been dealt by Purdue. It's like bowling right now. They're just knocking them down one after the other. That is a strike pretty much. Or, I mean, at least a spare at this stage from Purdue.
Someone's on the backside of this. It's the GP. It's the GP who's trying to go get it. Now he's in a little trouble. Top Hippopotamus will be able to dodge it out. Oh, the auto attack in the air roots down Top Hippopotamus in a bit of trouble now. Liznasta just caught no man's land, and the rest of Illinois are recalling, and Bishop picks himself up a kill.
And Top Hippopotamus, who's always such a factor for Illinois when it comes to these amazing plays. He's always the one looking to go in and set things up. He's taken on teams 1v4 and has walked away the victor. But not this time, not in this game, not in this situation. The gap has closed. Illinois are no longer this uncontested monster in this region. They have competition, and Purdue now up 17 kills to 11 are looking to seal the deal on this series 2-0.
Yeah, a nice 3,000 gold lead here at 22 minutes. Not a massive lead, but your Caitlyn is big. The issue is we've seen execution mistakes here from Purdue. Follow Liznasta. Let him be your front line. Let Flawed Logic take all these shots for you and just go front to back. Fight your fight front to back. You know, has static shiv. You got that 2 crit item power spike. You see how quickly Bishop's able to burst right on through minion waves. Start working through your glass cannon in the form of Bishop, and then Holy Carp be the wild card, the ace on the side, trying to land those sleepy trouble bubbles from unique, awkward angles that force Illinois into bad positions.
We're just seeing Illinois. I gotta give props to them though to not sort of play this passive game that they could right now. They need to utilize shocks now. They need to set something up off the back of this Lee Sin. They need to try and get a pick here. But it just seems like Purdue is doing, other than Bishop's positioning, is doing a very good job. Why are the 2 carries out in front, guys? Why are the 2 tankiest members in the back right now? But I was going to say, they're doing a very good job of at least sticking together, so making it more difficult for Illinois to go through and try and pick something up here. The GP is going to be split pushing, and that's exactly what Top Hippopotamus needs to do. The question is...
Lots of pings up the mid lane right now for Purdue, and that's what you're seeing. All 4 members will be bullying off the Bosch and Kuderek. Shocks on the flank. There is no ward there. Couple traps, but he is Lee Sin. He can take a couple of different angles over. Holy Carp will back on off, keep it safe, but again, I think you're starting to see Purdue be slightly out of their depths. They seem slightly confused on what the proper next steps are supposed to be, and it's giving Illinois a little bit of time to farm their way back into the game.
Yeah, and that's what we're seeing right now for sure. It feels like the last 3 or 4 minutes of the game, Purdue has looked a little bit listless. They know they need to push, and they're grouping together and doing just that. But the split pushing of Illinois in response, the better macro play, which we saw a little bit of in game number 1, is paying off for them. Is now they're going to try and go on through a 3-man call of the Forge God, and now we're going to see Shoxton go in and trying to finish this one up. Can't do so with the ult from the GP, getting multiple pickups here. And now it is Bishop in the back, trying to get himself out of a rough situation, trying to take somebody with him, but no, he cannot. A lot of damage being done to the side of Illinois, but 3 kills have already been achieved.
What a huge play there by Shocks to finally find the Dragon Rage kick backwards onto Clam Sparkle. And there was no one sitting on the VIP. Holy Carp and Liznasta, they were late to the party. They were the accidental invites because someone else, your friend Sam, accidentally told your other friend that you didn't want to invite Liznasta to the party too late, so you had to invite him late, and he shows up late, and all the rest of the party falls apart in the form of Bishop and Clam Sparkle. You gotta make sure on these rotations, you are first. Play through Bishop, play through your glass cannon, and what happens? Everything falls apart for the Boilermakers. Illinois find more time to continue to scale with this LeBlanc, with this Zaya, and with this GP.
You said it earlier in this game, Degon. Anyone can get fed, but not everyone can carry. And we need to see the carry from Bishop in this game, but it cannot just be him. We need to see the team set him up for success. And if he's gonna play a ridiculous forward, aggressive Kalen, they just need to own that. You've gotta go in as a team. It's better to make the wrong call as 5 than the right call as just 1 or 2. Bishop needs to take a step back and reassess, but at the same time, punishing the overextension is exactly what Illinois needed to do, and they did.
Did you like my analogy?
It was invite your friends to parties.
Invite your friends to parties.
Order some
otherwise-
Grubhub.
Don't
I
be
don't
like
know.
Sam.
But don't bring Sam.
Yeah. Don't be like Sam, where Sam's a big blabbermouth and forgets to invite Liz Nasta and Holy Carp.
Is he a loudmouth? Wait, if he didn't invite. Hang on, I'm confused.
Sam is your friend you invited, but
Gotcha.
then told Holy Carp and Liz Nasta. So then now you're forced to invite them late. When they show up late.
Oh, I get it. And then they'd be upset because they didn't get the invite originally. Gotcha.
All right, so you didn't get mine. I just wanted to know if you got it or
No, I
not.
totally didn't. I just like,
All right.
all right,
Cool.
that's fair. But we are seeing a little bit of damage going on. Look, Degon, look, sometimes I'm going to go with you, man. I'm the friend who's going to go to the party, okay? Just for you, buddy. As we're seeing the pickup there, potentially starting things off onto the Lee Sim with the counter initiation with the call. The Forge God is here. Man attack. We're going to try and get this kill if they can. Look at all the damage raining through from Illinois at this stage, where the counter kill is there. Command attack and try to pick the kill. The Holy Crap not quite able to do so. And that is going to be the Caitlyn falling as well, which means that the bulk of the damage from the side of Purdue, other than the Zoe, has fallen. And the Paddle Stars are not going to be here, as they are going to opt to back, which means that Illinois, off the back of a solid engage, finding the fight in the choke, utilizing the ult from the Bosch, able to pick up an objective as well as some kills.
Yeah, and again, big play by Illinois to finally find an opportunity around the Ocean Drake to pick their fight. It's very difficult right now for Purdue when they're not in a lane to stop all the different angles that Illinois can come from with the Lee Sin, with the LeBlanc. And in this case, Command Attack wasn't there right away, and he was forced to flash in, then use the double distortion to get the damage down, then land the chain, then land the sigil. That was very impressive by Command Attack to make sure, hey, look, I am slightly late to the party, but I will use all of my resources offensively. One more time, Blonde Logic going on to the Lee Sin. They want to pick up the kill, but now you're just locked up here for the Bosch. And see, Command Attack wants to be sure he gets into the fight, flashes in, dishes out the front end damage to Clam Sparkle, and Liznasta's on the side. He's not focusing on these champions that can dash through. With Command Attack there, with Top Eponymous coming on late, the Bosch with his ulti as well. I think it was just a little bit of misplacement there by Liznasta and poor target selection to pick that fight in the first place.
If you're Purdue and you are, I don't know, a Poppy, I don't know, a Nautilus, you have a very clear job in this game. You are a babysitter. You are the nanny. You need to keep your carries alive. And I know as the Poppy, it feels so good to just dive into the back and disrupt some fights and, oh yeah, you know, I get a cool ult and I knock, that's great. But at the same time, like, you need to be steadfast presence right in front of your carries. You need to be the front line for them so they can just kite back, they can peel, and they can dish the damage. That's what needs to happen here. If Purdue can have that fight front to back, like you said, that's where they win. And now Bishop is going to get caught out once again. And who is not between him and the opponents? It's Flawed Logic, who's also going to fall. Another 2 kills going over to Illinois. They are making this late game their own.
Yeah, and after all the bullying that happened to the Bosch on the bottom side of the map, Flawed Logic and Bishop now on the receiving end, and that is the power of Ornn. As soon as you see one of those members caught out, you're more than happy to take that fight. Zoe was clearly on the top side of the map. They had vision of it. Poppy had just shown on the bottom side of the map. They had vision of it. Purdue have to stop making these macro mistakes, otherwise they're running out of objectives. 1, 2, 3 objectives in that one mistake from Bishop and Flawed Logic. You are the VIP. Start acting like the VIP if you want to find a way to win if you're the Boilermakers. And fantastic resiliency for the Fighting Illini in this one. It was such a difficult time down on the bottom side of the map for the Bosch and Kuderek, but the time being bought by Shox. Yes, he's died 6 times, but he's had a lot of setups. By Command Attack, especially down in that last fight around the Drake area. Top Eponymous scaling. They're now getting to the point where they are the one in the driver's seats in these fights.
Look at the stat line for these 2 mid laners, 6-1-3 and 7-1-4. They have both had incredible games. The question is, who can have a bigger impact in the late game? And Purdue going for a potentially risky Baron call right here. The collapse from Illinois is going to be very real. Here's Command Attack on the flank. They're just going to back this one up. They need to reset, but they're walking into a choke right now. If Illinois had decided to put the pressure in right there, that could have been potentially massive, because Call of the Forge God is up and available. The go button for Illinois is at their disposal, but the super minions here in the mid are forcing Purdue back and now creating an opportunity for the Baron to potentially go to Illinois.
Yeah, and that That was a very scary retreat. Here we go. Bishop in a little bit of trouble. The hook does land, but no one. Yes, the LeBlanc does get deleted. The Ornhorns go way,
There
way
we
wide.
go.
Oppie now on the backside. The 80 carries on. Top Hippopotamus is gone, and Purdue have won the fight. It's Shocks left alive, but he's all by and lonesome. He gets put in the wall. He's gonna get set into timeout. The trap goes down, and Shocks will fall in just a second. A great hold. He gets popped up, and everybody by Purdue live, and the Baron will head over to the Boilermakers.
The clean ace for Purdue, taking advantage of the over-aggression, the split from Illinois, which talked about the collapse, but the collapse only works if all 5 of your team go with you. Instead, it was the LeBlanc against the world, and then Purdue was able to take those little fights as they wanted to, which means they get a 5-man Baron power play, and this game is back in their hands.
Very much so. The big play out of all of this is that Flawed Logic and Bishop by their lonesome
Yes.
were finally able to stop Command Attack from getting in. The auto attack route into the ult, into the dredge line. That was more than enough damage to take care of this bursty, but not tanky, not durable LeBlanc. And that frees up Liznasta to go straight to the back line and take out Kuderik. Kuderik just doesn't have anywhere to go. By getting stopped there, Clam Sparkle can come on in, dish out the damage necessary. Holy Carp getting a pick as well. What a play there by Purdue to turn it around right after getting punched in the mouth and losing the mid tier 2, the inhib turret, and the inhib itself.
And the inhib is going to be coming back up very shortly here. Command Attack is on the flank. Not going to go for a crazy steal, but is going to try and get a snipe right there. Clam Sparkle, look at himself on out. Ooh, Holy Kerp almost able to find that one. But the split pushing LeBlanc is here, but Purdue identifying the fact, look, this LeBlanc's not going to be able to push us too hard. We have Baron, we have the minions. Let's go in ourselves. Liznasta trying to set something up here. Keep an eye on the cooldown for that steadfast presence as the push is coming here in the mid. LeBlanc now forced to recall.
Whoa.
And look at the damage onto Shocks already. This is exactly the start they want, as the Zoe's just able to put so much damage in from so much range. But now the Warden in the flank division, they're going to try and look to do something here. Holy Crap's going to be the target, able to do a little bit of initial damage. But that is top bottom, is trying to get himself on out. Trying to push him on through. Liznasta being the frontliner, trying to finish up the kills, Command Attack, but not able to do so.
That is a fantastic job by Command Attack, getting the chain down, waiting to use the distortion. Ace in the hole will get blocked there, and a good job by Liznasta, making sure he's using steadfast presence. Clam Sparkle wanted to recall, but they're going for the push here. The redemption will heal them up enough. One more auto attack, they are able to get it. Will they be able to get out? Command Attack on the flank. Nice dodge again, and Purdue are able to buy some time, back off. But what a great opportunity for Command Attack to go back in, back out, bait out the skills, almost took down Clam Sparkle. A good sparring match between the two, but the inhib does eventually go down.
Nice play from both sides, but Purdue just a little bit cleaner, able to get those wounded members out, able to get the regen, able to get the redemption, able to get the healing, push themselves on through, get the siege while staying alive. That was, I think, that's the best we've seen them yet, for sure.
And we are 34 minutes in, and I would say after a lull in the mid-game, these two teams are so close, and I can only imagine what it's like now, feeling so expended. And if Illinois win this, we got to run this back to game 3 after these two squads have just been, fighting tooth and nail after doing the proper setup. Rarely have we seen guys just kind of face-checking in this one. It was more like Bishop and Flawed Logic being way too far forward. And now every step, it seems like teams are starting to put down wards and be aware of where the other team's movements are. Now it's, what are they going to do with that information? You've got that split pushing LeBlanc right now. Not the most useful, as the siege will continue. Top Hippopotamus getting damage down, not able to get the big barrel off, just shooting it for the gold, and easy back off here by Purdue.
And I feel like now we're reaching the point where Liznasta and Flawed Logic are feeling comfortable enough in their tankiness to just walk forward and be this front line. They know they're not going to get bursted, and they know they're going to be able to create enough opportunities for their carries to go. You see it right there, Flawed Logic taking Top Hippopotamus! Oh boy, Top Hippotamus is still going to fall, shutting down the call of the Forge God. Holy Curve is going to be the target. Command attack going in, forced to go gold in the back. Bosch going to drop simultaneously, trying to get the kills through all of this right now, but Clan Sparkle is surviving. That is the triple kill, and the cleanup there for Purdue, able to get the quadra kill for the Caitlyn, surviving through all of it, and that is finally what Purdue needed to seal the deal and walk away with the 2-0 victory in this series over Illinois.
What an upset, but congratulations to the Boilermakers for taking the #1 seed in the western side of the bracket of our preseason invitational. Deservedly so. It looked like this squad had done their preparation. It looked like they were the ones that knew the meta just a little bit better. And then it kind of like a couple of questionable positional mistakes there by Bishop and Flawed Logic. Brain started farting just a bit there. However, they were able to bounce back and calm the nerves. And what else can you say in the top lane right now by Liz Nasty? He had a dominant performance on Ornn.
Absolutely.
And then in that very last second, Twitch chat said it right there, was like the mama bear protecting his cubs, and the cubs constantly running straight towards
just
death.
roly-poly down a hill, and the mom's just like, no, come back, no, stay here, stay where it's safe.
So good.
Look, you could say Mama Bear. I'm gonna go with Angry Kangaroo Mom, just putting them right back in the pouch and then just kicks left and right. I'm just saying. Kangaroos are scary. They have like weird spines on their feet. Don't get kicked by a kangaroo, kids.
Angry Kangaroo Mom.
Yep.
All right.
Nasta.
That's what we're going with. Well, Liz Nasta, great job. I think by far the MVP of this series. Multiple different champions there in different matchups doing different jobs. And we got to see Illinois get a little cute, take away the Ornn. They wanted to say, hey, look, we're not going to give that over to you. We don't like playing this matchup. And unfortunately, the Bosch just didn't have a great series, and we're just so used to seeing him be a dominant player, playmaker last season on AD carry, this season, setting up his team, and in this case, was getting caught a lot.
Look, the early game from the Bosch left a lot to be desired. Going down 4 kills early, or 4 deaths early is never ideal. But the call of the Forge Gods in those mid to late game fights were solid. They often resulted in at least 2 to 3 members stunned, resulted in multiple kills. If he hadn't had that rough early game, it would be very interesting to see how things would have turned. But unfortunately, the damage was done. The prioritization of Clam Sparkle to shut that one down over and over again, and then just having the additional threat of the Graves in these fights just made Illinois have to ask too many questions, and they just didn't get enough answers, and that's what helped Purdue walk away with the victory. A lot of great moments in that last game returned. Break it down. What was your sort of defining moment of that match?
Yeah, I don't think this is a game that can be broken down in exactly one moment, so I got 2 for you guys here today. And as an Illinois native myself, this one hits a little bit close to home. So let's take a quick look at the first of our two plays. This one is going to be the Baron. You guys should be remembering this one pretty recently because it was basically the start of the Illinois tumble. And just for a little bit of preamble before this fight, Illinois were winning. They were scaling up. They were doing a great job of playing Purdue around the map, but it is this Baron fight that really started them on that slide. So before we get this one started, keep an eye on command attack here in this fight. The entire idea for this fight out from Illinois is not to take this Baron. It is to channel the team of Purdue in this corridor, flank from the back command attack, and flank from the front with the Ornn ultimate, locking everyone down, AoE them death. You got Gangplank, you got LeBlanc, you have everyone you need. And as you see this play roll out, it is that miscommunication, miscoordination on that initial fight that costs them dearly. See right here, command attack, boom, is going in. At this point, you need to be throwing everything you can down here, because if you're able to kill these 2 members in the bottom of your screen, it's over. 5v3, Baron, wrap it up, everyone go on home, grab some deep dish pizza, it's over. But unfortunately, as you might be able to see here as we play this clip out, that is not exactly what happens. Command attack is beautifully locked down by support play out here from Flawed Logic. And then right here, once this happens, this play is over. This is a split fight against a team from Illinois that thrives on AoE combinations, hitting everyone at once. Once the Ornn goes wide, once Gangplank's there, and even the fact that you have 1 member sitting here on the Baron and 2 members actually trying to fight a 2v3, it's a lose-lose situation. And unfortunately, that's going to spell disaster in the start of the slide here from Illinois. We just watched one play out, and fortunately for you guys back home, unfortunately definitely for Purdue, and this was a fantastic play from Purdue, knowing when to leverage those mistakes and when to pounce. But Illinois, this definitely isn't the squad that we were used to seeing. And that's, of course, the beginning of the downfall. And let's go ahead and flip over to the end of the downfall if we could. We're going to turn on over to the play you just saw, which is the base race. Now, this one had some very interesting calls coming out through. As you can see currently on this map, you have 2 members down here in the bottom lane from Illinois. You got Lee Sin, you got LeBlanc, and then you have everyone else in the game up in the top lane from Purdue. So here is when you have to make a decision. Either put faith in command attack to split push this game out while you have the rest of your members defend that top tower, or you back everyone immediately, you hold that base with as much as you can and look to turn the fight. And as you can watch right here, initially they send Lee Sin back, so that is a good first reaction, saying, okay, we want to defend, and then allow command attack to go ahead and push out that bottom side. But what is really awkward here is that they send LeBlanc back as well. And once they do this, and you can keep rolling on through here, LeBlanc, you know, they're doing a good job. You have the Gangplank ultimate here trying to defend the tower, but there's just not anything left to defend. You could be able to defend under that Nexus tower, which gives you a bit of a bigger advantage, and try to leverage that pressure in the bottom lane, but unfortunately it just never comes to fruition. Like if LeBlanc's pushing here, you give a force for Purdue to react to potentially, you know, stymie the attack, but once you get to this point, it's just simply one ultimate away. Fantastic play, top Potamus, eliminated even before he can set foot. Great ultimates here on the front side. Command attack falls, everyone falls, the Bosch falls as well, and as you guys saw it in that game, the Giants of Illinois were toppled. Fantastic game from Purdue. Illinois has got a lot to prove if they want to take that semifinal match, but that's it for us here at the board. A little bit long-winded, I know, but back to you guys on the desk.
No, not
at all.
No, that was great.
That was great. Yeah, I think, again, anytime that we're able to really break down the nuances of it, especially when we're missing it. I knew, like, there was a lot that happened in the Baron fight, and we knew that the LeBlanc got caught out, command attack got caught out, but watching that back, also the way that 2v2 fight was breaking out, if it wasn't Lee Sin on the top side fighting against Poppy, like Poppy counters Lee Sin, so it was basically a 1v1 on the top side with Poppy and Baron dishing out damage to the Xayah. Maybe if it was Gangplank that was in there, maybe if it was Ornn that was in there, it might have been a little differently. Things might have gone a little differently. So thanks so much, Return. And again, big shout outs to Purdue for getting this victory. The Boilermakers will be your #1 seed. And the silver lining here for Illinois, I think that we can all agree on, they didn't show a lot. So as they get comfortable with this patch, they'll go into the semifinals next week and have time to prepare and see what works for them and be a little bit more up to date on it.
Yeah, I need to remind everybody, of course, we're not going to be here next week. It's Thanksgiving, so the teams are going to have a little bit more time to prepare, to get acclimated to the new patch, which I think that Illinois definitely needs. I think Purdue looked absolutely solid here, and they're already looking to start to pull in some of this lovely 9.23 magic, and we'll see how they can continue to expand on that moving forward. So congrats to them ending this as the first seed, and I think what is an upset given sort of the history that we've seen with Illinois here. So congratulations to them, and that also means some fun things for you and I here on the desk, Degon.
Oh, yeah?
Because it's that time again, thanks to Grubhub.
Grubhub!
It is now the Cast in Chat Chow Down.
Cast in Chat Chow Down!
Which means that we get to sit back and talk about Grubhub, talk about that match, and enjoy some delicious food, which I'm very excited. I don't know what won, because you guys were able to vote earlier at ESL Collegiate.
Yeah, we don't know.
We have no idea what won.
I'm waiting for the graphic to show up.
I didn't check Twitter.
It smells really good.
It does. I could smell when it came in.
Ah, Grub Husbando, I missed you
Yay.
last week.
Baked potato.
Baked potato? What?
Okay.
How was that an option?
That was all right.
All right.
So apparently we had our options were turkey, a baked potato, or dessert.
All right.
So, all right. Oh, it's Thanksgiving themed. That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
That is a healthy looking baked potato.
This is a stuffed potato. I am.
Okay,
I'm excited
show them
for it.
that. Wow, ours are
Hold
very
on.
different.
I've got to open mine.
Yeah, let's open
You
that
got the
up.
healthy one. Lol.
We can swap if you want.
Nah, dog. It's
All right.
Thanksgiving time. It's
So much for
pumpkin
the
season, baby.
Degon diet right there. I have a lovely amount of green onions on mine. That looks delicious. I'm excited to get into this one. I'm so glad I'm not on keto anymore and I can actually eat this, which is great. Not allowing the carbs. But yes, anyway, thank you so much to Grubhub for joining us as a partner here for ESL Collegiate, of course, one of the largest networks of restaurants and diners here in NA. And of course,
That looks so good.
with the Grubhub Perks program, you can get yourself access to discounts and free food. And if you use that link you see on your screen, you get $12 off your first order
$12.
of $15 or more. That's you basically get you basically get the meal.
I'm
which is great.
so
I
excited.
don't have a knife. I'm just gonna kind of go at this here.
Yeah.
Degon, how? Oh, do you have bacon on yours?
Got
What?
bacon in mine, dude.
What? That looks amazing.
Mhm.
Okay, hang on. Get in there,
I'm
Degon.
getting in. We're getting in.
Get the shot of Degon enjoying his lovely baked potato. And of course, Grubhub, the nation's leading provider of food orders here. So thank you so much to Grubhub, and we're very happy to help them here, and of course help bring some food to some hungry college students. That sounds amazing as well. I take a bite of mine. All right. Okay. Oh, that was
This is great. This is the one that I was looking for, right? This is like the themed, little off-kilter
Yeah, I like it.
delivery service I was looking for.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Grubhub. This is delicious.
Ooh.
Make sure you guys at home use that link that you saw, save the monies, buy food for freeze, and build up those Grubhub perk reward points.
Yep.
Free food, exclusive foods. Make sure to do that. Thank you so much, Grubhub, for this delivery. Great.
Yes, thank you so much, indeed. And of course, be sure to follow us on Twitter at ESL Collegiate. But not only can you vote on the Cast and Chat and keep up to date with all of the amazing collegiate League of Legends action here at ESL. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks after Thanksgiving with more amazing BTN action, or you can tune in tomorrow on the channel for the Big East Finals. We will see you there. Have a good night.
Good night!